Hi, Insa. Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Hi, Daniela. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Daniela. I mean, I've been kind of in and out. Yeah, that looks much better. I agree. I agree. I agree. I'm doing well. How are you? How are you doing? Hi, KCB. Hi, Ella. How have you been? Hi, Priscilla. Hi, Tristana. If I said that wrong, please correct me. Hi, Rhea. Welcome in, my love. Hi, Raven. Thanks so much for the likes. Hi, Fatima. How are you? How are y'all? Happy Friday. Hey, Amina. Hi, Tarika. If I'm saying your names wrong, please correct me. Y'all know that I like to say your names right. So if I'm saying them wrong, please let me know. I like to be corrected. Good. I'm glad, Daniela. Your PFP is hitting, girl. Just working, Raven, period. Period. We love you being able to be on TikTok while you work. We love those kind of jobs. Hi, Heart. Hi, Tunde. Tell me if I'm saying it wrong. Hello, hello. On God, Raven. Like, on God. Like, those are the best. The best. Y'all, I need to know, is there something? Hi, Lynn. Hi, Toogie. Hi, Ginger. I need to know if there's something going on. You are welcome, girl. I need to know if there's something. Tina Bina. Oh my gosh. Only my bestie calls me that. I love that you just called me that. Hi. I'm wondering if there's something going on in Love Island world that I don't know about. Y'all have to keep me updated because this morning I woke up with something on my mind and I'm the type of person like shit don't be on my mind for no reason. Hi, Siobhan. Hi, Cookie Dough. Nothing yet, Siobhan. I just got on. I am curious if something is happening in Love Island world. They fumbled Olabat. The Pisces was acting. No, for real, Raven. So I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Because why is that even on my mind? So I'm curious. Okay, they fumbled Olabat. What happened, y'all? Please tell me. Y'all know that I don't know unless you tell me. Hi, Nadia. Hi, Karen. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hi, dark skin leopard girl. Hi, Bay. I know y'all saw Wendy. I do want to discuss them, Diane. No, I do want to discuss them. I'm just also curious if there's something else going on that I just am unaware of. Or it might be coming. For $300, wait, y'all. No, Wendy was more than, yes, she did win the Ebony Award. I saw that. Oh, Ola won an award, so they're saying Love Island fumbled her. I know, Erica. I know. It was $450,000. Yes, Cookie. It was a total of $450,000 that they are alleging, right? It's all alleged, that they scammed the insurance companies out of. Hi. So y'all, I know, Diane. I'm like, Wendy. Win-win. So Ginger, Wendy on Real Housewives of Potomac, she and her husband Eddie had gone on a family vacation to Jamaica. And what they are alleging, okay, thanks y'all so much for the likes. That helps to just push out the live. What they are alleging is that Wendy and Eddie staged a burglary, okay? That Nadia, okay, you work in insurance. Okay, so they they staged a burglary. Hi, Shayla. They staged a burglary, and that they reported all of these things as stolen. And then they were able to figure out that apparently they were in a lot of debt. Now, I don't know what that means, right? I know that a lot of times I'm not a wealthy, like I'm not in their tax bracket. And I know that wealthy people will like float debt. So I don't know what that means to say they were in debt. Like, does that actually mean they was broke? You know what I mean? Like it's very different when you get into certain tax brackets to have a certain amount of debt. That's very different than it is as like a normal human. Hi, Doreen. And so they're saying they were in a lot of debt and they got really curious about what they were saying because I guess the robbery or the burglary didn't seem to make sense with what they were saying. And so what they're alleging is that the things that they're reporting were stolen. Either they still have like her wedding ring band, or they found evidence that they bought the things and then returned them to the store. And so they're saying these things were never stolen. You all made this up and you defrauded us for $450,000. Now, here's the thing. If nothing else, they do have them around the fact that like they made claims to 2 different insurance companies, which is illegal, I guess. I don't fucking know. We have an insurance person in here, so you tell us. Yeah, that's illegal. It is illegal to make claims for the same things to 2 different insurance? Yeah. I don't fucking know, girl. My husband said it is. And probably, yes, it probably is. That would make sense. It's fraud. Because you're already getting money from one insurance company, so you can't tell the other insurance company that you also need to recover the money for it. But what I agree, Shayla, that it is really hard to prove insurance fraud, which makes me feel like they must feel like they have a lot of evidence. Hi, Annabelle. But I will say that what we got in the article made me not so sure, but obviously I know that that's not all the information, right? So here's the thing. Hi, Gigi. What they're saying in the article, hi, Gijo, is that like on social media, they saw her still with her ring. And I'm like, people post old pictures all the time. You know what I mean? Like that to me is not enough evidence to be like, she still has it. Like, thank you, Gigi. You know what I mean? Like that to me is not enough evidence. And then they were saying, it is a scheme that Todd set up. Thank you, Gigi. And then they were saying the other one, and I was like, well, maybe they had like more than one thing. But again, like I do feel like for insurance fraud, they would have done their homework pretty well before they would bring that, right? Like if this was like the state, no shade. If this was at the state level or like the cops investigating, I would be much more suspicious about it. Like, I don't know. But like an insurance company, I know that they're doing like a lot of work to before they would like go forward with something like that. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. So y'all are saying the documents are on Twitter with way more information. Y'all know I don't get on Twitter. It's insane over there. It's crazy over there. I made a Twitter account and then couldn't use it because it was too much going on over there for me. I was like, I can't. I can't. It's too much over there. And that's how I feel, Nadia. It's like there has to be some level of evidence around something. If nothing else, they double dipped. You know what I mean? And you know what, bae? I used to be a Twitter girly back in the day, but the format now is so weird to me. I can't understand what's going on. It just feels disjointed. It doesn't feel as seamless as Twitter used to feel to me. And then it's just like, I don't know. I just be feeling like it'd be too much going on over there. Like people be over there being cray cray. And I can't do it. I can't do it. Exactly, Erica. I'm just so disappointed that it's Wendy and it's Eddie. You know what I mean? Hi, Lacey. I'm so disappointed that it's Wendy and it's Eddie, y'all. Not going to lie. Hi, Miriam. Hello. And here's the thing, like, you get wealthy enough, you start being stupid about money. Honestly, I feel like, greed is what even like got in the way. Had they not double dipped, we may not even have ever heard this story. You know what I mean? But it's like you got greedy. And maybe it was an honest mistake, but it is a really bad scam, babe. That's why I'm like, was it a scam? Because again, and I haven't been on Twitter to read the other documents, but so far, just what I saw in the TMZ story, I'm like, I feel like some of this could be explained. You know what I mean? Like, some of this could be like easily rationalized. And that's what it is, Nadia. It's the fact that they went to more than one. You know what I mean? So I do want to know, like, again, I don't know. And then it was the whole it was also the whole the allegation, right, is that they made a claim without saying that her wedding band was missing, but then came back and made a claim that, oh, it actually is missing. So if it is all a scam, if it's all a scam, then that's also how the greed like got in the way. You know what I mean? Exactly. So that is what they're saying, Nadia, is that they're saying that they asked them whether they were filing a claim with anyone else, and the answer was no. And then they found out that they did. So it's like, did you not go back? Well, did you not go back and let them know, oh, we're also going to file for this? Like, I just don't understand how they let this happen. I don't understand how we got there. You know what I mean? I don't understand. It confuses the fuck out of me. Like, I feel like they're too smart for this to have happened. I will say, and I think Shayla, you're the one that said it on my comment, or somebody said it on my comments, like, I'm glad, no, it was the Titus, actually. I'm glad that they're like, it was frauding. Exactly, dark skin lover girl. I'm like, I do feel like, just from what I've seen, again, I haven't gone to look at the court documents, y'all. So maybe it's like I'm giving too much grace. I don't know. But I did feel like, just from what I read, I was like, some of this I feel like could be explained, right? Like, who knows when she took that picture versus when it was posted? You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Who knows, right? So her having the wedding band on in a picture is not really anything, in my opinion, on social media. That's nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you could have taken that picture months ago and now you're posting it. That's not real evidence, in my opinion. And then the other thing, they were like, oh, if someone had come down from the roof, because that's where they were saying it happened, like someone came in from like the roof. If someone comes down from the roof, there would have been like a mess on the toilet seat. And I'm like, y'all ain't ever heard anybody cleaning up behind themselves? Like, if you are someone that is burglarizing by coming in through someone's roof, yeah, you're gonna clean up the mess you made. If you are fucking climbing onto someone's roof of their house, you're the type of burglar that's gonna clean up your fucking footprint. Duh. So that to me was like, why? Like, it's giving like small town bumbling idiot cop to feel like that was like enough to be like, oh my God, they must be lying, you know? Like, so Diane, it wasn't that they were selling it. What they were saying is that they were, things were returned to the store. And I'm like, well, how do you know that she didn't have more than one? Like, again, I am curious. And I understand Candace saying she feels like they might have been targeted. What does confuse me a teeny bit is that Wendy is not a girly that doesn't always wear her rings. Again, yeah, it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I want to have faith. I want to believe that like they're smarter than this, that like some things can be explained. And here's the thing. We also know that like, it's not like typically they're going to go for the highest thing they can go for and then see if they can like plead you down to like other stuff, like see if they can like, you know, kind of get you down to like some agreements around things. So I wouldn't be shocked if they're going like the highest possible they could go, but really they can only prove, you know, some things, and you know what I mean? So they might be trying to see what they can get them to agree to. Or it might be like, it's all going to be explained away in court. Who knows? Who knows? But I am very, very, very shocked by it. Hi, Tata. Again, I just do perceive Wendy and Eddie as much smarter than that. Okay, so I know someone who has an insurance claim about their storage unit. It was about $16,000. Hi. Thank you, Tata. Thank you. Hi, Mom P. I feel like I said it right. So yeah, y'all, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. We will have to see. But, you know, I do feel like, unfortunately, it's going to give Giselle and Ashley a lot of ammo. But they added things to their claim. So from the, yeah, that's what we're talking about right now, user. They added things to their insurance claim from the storage unit, from friends and family, and they're doing 2 years. Insurance doesn't play. Absolutely. Hi, Mimi. Absolutely. So it's like, it's easy to do. Like, so my brother-in-law worked in like claims for a really long time. Do it, Tata. Do what you got to do, girly pop. I hope that you've been well. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. I haven't been live very often. Insurance claims don't play. Like, they don't play that. Like, you cannot scam them. But, you know, am I always okay with like seeing a system get scammed? Sure, fuck them people. You know what I mean? Like, hi LB. Like, it's whatever. I don't give a fuck about a system. You know what I mean? No shade to, okay, so y'all, I have something to admit. I started.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I have started watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And we're not talking like about a Jen Shah situation, right? We're like, you are defrauding and scamming people. Like, you are harming people. This is like a system. I don't give a fuck about y'all. Like, I don't give a fuck about y'all. Exactly, user. You know what I mean? So it's like, she didn't seem sad. She didn't seem like she was crying. Hi, Ann. She didn't seem worried. And so that does make me like, okay, like, maybe she's like, this is so silly. Like, this is going to go away. Like, it can be explained, you know? Hi, Tashina. So I am just curious, y'all. I'm curious. I don't know, y'all. What do y'all think? Do y'all feel like, I mean, again, like we said, right? That's the best Real Housewives, LB. Exactly, user. She didn't give me scammer like vibes. She just seems to be so put together on top of her shit that this just feels so out of left field. Like, it just feels so out of left field. I don't have any more Love is Blind videos right now. Not that I don't have takes, but y'all, I just haven't felt like sitting down and recording, if I'm honest. My favorite LB is probably Potomac right now. Early 2000s, mid 2000s probably would have been Atlanta. I just started watching Salt Lake City. Like, I literally went back to episode 1 of season 1 and am watching from the beginning. Jen Shah's a fucking trip. Mary is very, very odd. Oh, good, Ann. I'm so glad you're watching. Yeah, dark skinned lover girl. That's what makes me curious, right? Is like, Wendy was Wendy was multiple job Wendy. You know what I mean? She was basically Kiki Keep a Bag Palmer, right? Like, Wendy was in her bag. She was a professor, a commentator, a speaker. Like, she's doing all these things to make money. And yeah, I guess, like, I don't even have a memory, but maybe I'm forgetting, but I don't have a memory of us seeing Wendy and Eddie like really upgrade their life. Hi, P. I feel like they're in the same house that we've always seen them be in. Am I misremembering? I don't feel like they moved since they've been on the show. And if they did, it was like very early on after they joined the show. So it's like, I haven't seen them make a whole lot of moves that would be like, oh, this is probably why they're like they're living outside of their means. Like, I haven't seen that. They're currently renovating, but they're in the same house, right? Like, so it's like, I just don't know what could have happened where now you are so outside of your means that you would need to scam. I haven't seen anything. And I know that they started a business, but like, I'm sure they're getting business loans, and maybe that's the problem. Cause like, whatever happened with them bed sheets and them candles? Sorry, Wendy. Whatever happened with those, you know? So like, maybe it's like the businesses. No, they are, LB. That's what I was saying. Like, I think once you get to a certain amount of wealth, like, you're all scamming to some extent, right? But like, doing it in that way, that's crazy. Like, y'all, I don't know. And so it's like, maybe the businesses went upside down, and so now they're scamming to try to like pay off the debt of the businesses. I don't know, y'all. I just want to be hopeful. I want to be hopeful that it's a misunderstanding. But either way, I hope they don't do any time. Like, figure out how to pay the money back and keep it pushing. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't harm any people. They harmed a fucking institution. And again, it's always going to be fuck y'all. So whatever, you know? Don't nobody give a fuck about no goddamn insurance systems. Y'all stay scamming us. So whatever. Y'all stay making us pay every month in case something happens, you know?
For real.
So fuck y'all. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. So whatever. So yeah, I hope she doesn't do any time. I hope she don't do no time. Exactly, LB. Like, yeah, no. Hi. Like, yeah, I don't need her to go in. Okay. That ain't too much of nothing if we keeping it a buck. So hopefully it's okay. But I don't know. They might try to make an example out of her, you know? Ah, that's so funny, Erica. We are talking about Wendy, Tashina. We are talking about Wendy. I mean, listen, I know somebody said they want my thoughts on Mary once I've watched more of Salt Lake City. What did we watch? Like 5 episodes maybe?
Salt Lake City, yes.
We're at the part of the first season where they just had like Mary's luncheon. Tashina, very crazy to say. Like, very crazy to say. Please don't. So we're just now at that part where Mary basically puts Jen out. You know where the exit is, right? Didn't we get there? Or is that the preview for the next episode?
It's the preview. I don't know. I remember we got.
It's not bad now. They're just wild. And I can see how much they're going to change already over time. Heather's friendship with Jen.
I'm gonna try it.
Which one is Heather again? The blondie? Is Heather the short bob blonde girl? I feel like I haven't seen a lot of a friendship between her and... Oh, wait. Who's Heather? Oh, that's Whitney. Listen, y'all, I haven't been watching long enough to know. Okay. Okay, y'all, I'm not watching season 6. I started over from episode 1, season 1. So Heather is not there yet. Or wait, is Heather the long blondie? The beauty bar owner. Okay, she's the long blonde-haired girl. Okay. Heather's relationship with Jen, again, I'm very, very early days into the season, is, I feel like Heather, let me find it, y'all. Hold on. I feel like Heather is very, I think so, Anne. I mean, I think they have like fun shade. That's why I like the Real Housewives franchises, is because I feel like they have fun shade. It's not like so mean-spirited or like messy or like cruel. It's just like, oh, you being a little shade girl. You know what I mean? Like, it's more like that. So I think it's worth the watch, but I mean, I'm entertained by other people's drama. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not above it. I'm not gonna say I'm above it.
Smaller on this one.
I think so, baby.
Think so? Think this one?
Yeah, because look at how low it is into the pot.
I'm not supposed to be.
Okay, what is? You didn't show me the root ball.
Oh my goodness.
Trust yourself.
No, it's okay.
If you feel like that one's right, baby, then I
No,
trust
it's-
you.
I think it can possibly go.
He's replanting our plants, y'all. But yes, Salt Lake City is the one where Mary married her grandmother's second husband,
This is
her step
this is
granddad.
this football. So maybe so it can come out like that.
Well, how far is it from the root ball, baby?
It's about an inch, maybe.
So then do that one.
Smaller.
Do that one then.
Try this one.
So yes, hello, Bravoite, hello. Not just mean, bitter, broken, angry. Okay, so Heather's relationship with Jen is interesting to me because Shayla, I'm gonna get into it. It's hilarious. It's a lot, but honestly, Mary seems like a very traumatized person. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, I think Mary is quirky because she's traumatized. I don't know. It doesn't just give she was quirky. It gives the shit that she had to do in that head to make that shit make sense and to be okay with that. It gives she's traumatized. And that to me is, I don't know. And again, I'm very early days. Y'all. So I reserve the right to change my motherfucking mind. Okay. But from what I have seen, Mary, hi, Emoy, hi. You did a lot of deep diving into Mary's family and cult a few years ago. And exactly. So I just feel like what I've seen so far, again, very early days, the fact that the grandmother said the condition to you inheriting these things is to marry my second husband and to then care for him. Number one, just goes to show like how male-centered grandma is. Like, that man can't take care of his motherfucking self. Imagine an adult being able to take care of themselves. Wild thought. I don't know. Hi, my love. Hi. And to LB, yes, she said it took her 2 years to honor grandma's wishes, so she was struggling with it. It's like the fact that he also, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't believe that he didn't have a say in who it was. I don't believe that. And maybe I'm just being skeptical. Okay. But I feel like he picked Mary. And to me, that's odd. Right? Because the most logical next step would have been if you were going to want someone to take care of your husband after you pass, why wouldn't it be your child? The very next generation. Why would you choose a generation under that? That's odd to me. Okay, so Lesbian Gatekeeper is saying,
why she got married the nigga? Why can't she just
right? Exactly, Raven. It was giving, you have to do this for, like, I don't know. It was weird. So you're saying, Raven, you're saying, Lesbian Gatekeeper, that exactly. Are you saying that Mary and him were sleeping around while grandma was still alive? And then he and, okay, thank you for telling me your regular name that you want me to call you, Olivia. Do you think that, are you saying that like they were sleeping around while grandma was alive and then the two of them plotted together in order to get the will change? How did you find this out? How old was she, y'all? How old was Mary? Because to one of y'all's points, I don't remember who said it, but it's giving groomer. It's giving she got groomed. And that is creepy to me. It's creepy to me. And the other thing, I do know some things, because again, I've seen things here and there about the show, or I might have like, I think my nail tech watches Salt Lake City. And so like I might have been in there one day, like while she was watching episodes or whatever. So I do know. Yeah, see, hell no. Hell no. No. She was in her 20s because he met her when she was a toddler. I think so too, LB. Even the way she's like, it's the closing the eyes. She almost seems to be like, again, she just seems so like traumatized. So Rob Sr. and Mary are closer in age. He was 25 years younger than Grandma. Then how did he meet her when she was a toddler? Is he Rob Sr.? Is that his name? That is his name, right? How did he meet her when she was a toddler? How much closer in age are they? She reminds me of my aunties who were caught up in the civil war in Somalia. Yeah, like it's scary to me personally because he looks a lot older than her. That is what it looks, theatrics and straight up shell shock. Yeah, like, and I know some things about her son. Like, I know that he, has struggled with addiction and things like that. Like, that comes later, I guess, in the show. I know that's like as much as I know about that. So I'm not going to comment too much on that. But I will say that even in these early days of the show, you can see something is going on with son. Like, something is happening in that dynamic and in that relationship. So he's almost 20 years older than Mary. Her grandma is so scary for that. It feels like she was sold off as property of her grandma. So scary. I agree. Okay, if he's almost 20 years older than her, then shit, they ain't that close in age. That's too goddamn old. She did, Tashina. She did. So the grandma has like a church. She has all these houses. She had all this wealth, et cetera, et cetera. And in the will, it was, hi, love note. I need to marry him in order to have like she wanted everything to come to Mary, but the condition was you have to, no, it's okay. No, I don't think that you are, Liz. I don't think that you are, Olivia. That's not what I think you're doing. I think you're trying to give me more information. Because I don't know all the things. Okay, thank you. But like, the condition was she had to take care of by marrying, thank you, love note, Robert Sr. Ain't it wild how you can continue to control people's lives from beyond the grave? It was her grandma, user, that put this in the will for Mary. Her grandma did this. Thank you, dark skin lover girl. Thank you. It was grandma that put this in the will as the condition for Mary to okay. It was grandma that put this in the will. Okay, Shayla. I mean, at this point, he's passed on, I believe. Right? Hasn't he passed on? I'm in the early days of the season. I'm on episode like 5 or 6 of season 1, but I feel like he's already passed on. Hi, Tiana. Raven probably was done to grandma for her to find that remotely okay. Listen, am I about to get on Christian's helmets for a little bit? There are things that get normalized within Christian church around obligations to men. And grandma also comes from a generation where it was normalized to be a very young woman. Married to a much older man, right? That was very normalized in her generation. And it's the way that like, now not all Christian churches are like this. Like the Christian churches I went to were not like this, but I'm not going to act like my exception is the rule when we look at overwhelming like things and overarching like evidence of things. Organized religion in and of itself. He's still alive. I thought he was moved on. So I don't know if she can divorce him or not. At this point, the girl got she's trauma bonded to the man. What's she gonna do? Like the way they're always like, here's the other thing. The way that they're always like, Mary's so put together, like she's always so sharp, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I feel like Mary, the way that she's dressed always looks like her brain is scattered to me. So when Lisa came to her house and was like, her house looks like disjointed or whatever the language was that she said, I was like, that's what her clothing looks like. It looks like that's what's happening in her brain. Like she has to disjoint in order to survive her environment. Like that's what it looks like to me. Nothing looks solid and put together and controlled or cohesive, right? It looks disjointed all the time in all the ways to me. And I don't know how they don't see that, right? I think they perceive her as quirky maybe, or like maybe even they think it's like funny, right? Because people like caricatures of Black women, right? And so maybe they think it's funny and that's how they deal with her. And then she also like has wealth. And so, you know, they're like okay with it. But I'm like, I don't know how you don't engage with her. I'm watching her and I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know how y'all don't also wonder that. You know what I mean? And then I will say too, listen, organized religion, churches, whatever the religion, it breeds a certain, I can speak from the space of Christianity because that's what I used to practice, right? I'm saying how you felt when it first aired. Yeah. So it's like, I'm able to like see it, you know, because I'm watching it brand new. But it's like, they demand a certain level of like compliance. And if we're not careful, compliance can make us very susceptible to abuse. And I talked to y'all about this in like,
say it again.
Compliance can make us very susceptible to abuse.
I'm just saying. But
I don't know who Brittany is yet. I'm not that far. But it's like, this is why I talk to y'all about like as parents, right? Like making sure that like your kids have the ability, I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, right? But if your kids don't have the ability to kind of push back and practice challenging authority and you being the authority, if they don't have the ability to practice that safely, if they're only ever taught obedience and compliance, then they become susceptible to people that, I mean, assuming that you are not a parent that is this way, right? But they become susceptible to other people in the world that will use that to their benefit in order to take advantage of them, right? And so religion in and of itself has this like kind of groupthink way of being, right? Whatever the religion is, it's sort of like a groupthink kind of process, right? This is why when I was a Christian, one of the critiques used to be people are not disciples of the word. People are not reading the Bible for themselves. They're not studying to understand themselves. You understand? They're not trying to actually understand the word. They're just regurgitating whatever they've heard from someone else and their interpretation of that Bible, right? Which is why they talk about, you know, I don't give a fuck. Y'all know I don't. About like homosexuality being a sin, and you will never find that anywhere in your Bible. All that you will find is sodomy, right? As like the closest example. And that's not just happening between men. Let's keep it a buck. You know what I mean? So it's like, you don't really have anywhere in the Bible that it says that is a sin, right? But people misunderstand even what sins are, right? Like, so it's just, anyway, all that to say, it's not, it doesn't have like a level of where it encourages you to think for yourself. And so Mary having a grandma that thought that was okay to make as a requirement, and growing up in an environment that teaches her compliance and obedience, I'm sure she was mind fucked going into this situation, because it's like, well, I'm supposed to like do what I'm told. I'm supposed to like comply. This is the will of God, or whatever, however they might have positioned it, right? And this also feels icky. And so there's this like double consciousness, and I can see easily how that might fragment some shit. In order to be able to, you would have to like fragment in some ways in order to be able to like be in that environment, engaging in that. Hi, Nikki. Like that makes complete sense to me. And I feel like we're watching her be fragmented all the time. It shows up in the way that she dresses. It shows up in her home. It shows up in the way that she's parenting her child. The fact that she's missing things with him, like she's just fragmented, right? Like I feel like that's pretty obvious. We're talking about Mary from Salt Lake City. I started watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Nikki. Nikki, tell me the latest tea. I know that Alandria won People Choice. I know that that's all I know. That's all I know. Tell me the tea I'm missing. But like, yeah, I feel like we're watching that all the time. The Sun is, does the Sun come out as gay later? Does that happen? No. Okay. No.
Well, keep watching.
Shut up. I am curious about opposite, which is crazy. He marries a woman, but he also is living with addiction. Is that right? Am I like, I know it's hard. I'm trying to make sense of what I know. And also, thank you. And also like what else is happening in the real, like currently. Okay. He just seems so, oh, they're both living with addiction. He seems so sad. Like he seems so obviously sad to me. And like, Mary has a very interesting way that she understands her relationship to him. I haven't yet, blessing report, I can. Like her being like, he's the love of my life. And, you know, I'm in, huh? Yeah, please, will you put it over there? He's the love of my life. It just kind of, there's a level of like emotional connectedness to him that feels odd to me. And I think she sees herself in him. That would make sense. Like if there is this level of, to the point where they broke the barrier and started grabbing him. Hold on. Oh my God. Of course they did, Nikki. They're ridiculous. LSU need to do something about that one little girl harassing that girl. That's what they need to be doing. Shit, not holding events. Get Allison the fuck together about her racism, LSU. Mary has a very good scene with her son in the future. Yes, the ring camera girl, that humanizes both of them quite a bit. To me, it's like, it's not even that they're dehumanized for me. It just seems like, well, she describes herself as a helicopter mom, and that feels really obvious to me. And the way that she describes her relationship to him. And if you're not careful, again, like what's done is done, right? But that can definitely lead to like a level of sheltered, like a sheltered environment in a way where they can't really like explore safely before they leave your home. And so, I don't know. He just seems so sad. And it doesn't look like they really have a relationship where he's able to, like, she's so threatened by the fact that he has a girlfriend. Y'all, I don't know. It's odd to me. It's odd to me. And I'm not even saying he should be buying a girlfriend. Yes, we can. Again, Nikki, we talked about her a little bit. I'm not even saying he should be buying a girlfriend a Prada bag. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying she need all these extravagant gifts. But the way that she like feels about him having a girlfriend is weird to me. It's weird. Especially because it's not even like he's super young. He's in high school. And maybe had she not been so like, about him having a girlfriend, exactly, Raven, and that's what's weird to me. If she had helped him to learn how to appropriately navigate romantic relationships, maybe he would have chosen better partners. You read the documents, Nadia, and they didn't disclose the other insurance claims. Okay, Nadia's giving us the tea about Wendy, y'all. Pay attention to Nadia's comments. So, y'all, I don't know. Mary, I'm continuing to watch again. I'm very early days. Okay, I'm sorry. I got all off trail. Y'all asked me about Heather's relationship to Jen. Heather seems like she's a very good-hearted person. That's what it seems like, right? Like she is very mindful of how she is with people. Oh, I agree, Raven. I agree. I think she just doesn't trust anyone in the world but him. She gets a little normal in the future. It's because of her situation. Her mind is warped. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I can see that. Again, I'm very early days. This is just what I'm picking up in like the first 5 episodes. Like I have not watched very much at all. Heather and Jen definitely seems like she's the top dog so far from what I've seen. Jen seems pretty self-absorbed so far from what I've seen. And not like I think she doesn't like actually like the girls, but like, for example, the birthday party that yes, I'm back. I'm watching from the first season. Okay, great, Raven. Thank you. I'm watching from the first season, Nikki, because I've never seen it. So I'm literally first season doing a watch of the show. So all of y'all have all this information I don't have, and I'm just trying to like pick up what I'm seeing, watching so far. But Jen, the birthday party that she threw for Meredith, I spent $85,000 on a birthday party for you. You spent $85,000 on a party that you wanted to have that happened to be happening during the same time as Meredith's birthday. Like, cut the shit, Jen. Cut the shit. That was not about Meredith, right? So that's odd to me, right? Okay, Nikki. So what happened is Chris was cooking one day and I was like, I'm going to turn on something we don't watch. And that was on. So I turned on will you cash out Malachi, please?
No, that nigga could. How much?
He wants $4. Hi K Boogie, hey user MS. So like, and then the fact that she blurted out Meredith's business to Heather as soon as she felt slighted by Meredith. Like it's giving you're not a good human. It's giving it's all about you. It's the you show. K Boogie, we're talking about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But I told y'all repeatedly I wasn't gonna watch, so I have started watching. So to me, it's giving like and Heather seems like she wants to be friends with everyone. Like she seems to, what I've seen so far, she wants to keep it copacetic with everybody. And she seems very level-headed. I was talking about Grey's Anatomy. She seems very level-headed. She seems like she makes decisions about her relationships based on how she feels versus, oh, I feel that, versus like everyone else. Her relationship with Jen, a lot of people seem to kind of tend to Jen. Like the going after Jen when Jen stormed out and she was clearly in the wrong. At Whitney's 1920s event or whatever. So yeah, I don't know, y'all. It definitely seems like, okay, it definitely seems like I haven't yet user. It definitely, but see, that's what I was getting ready to say, Emoy, not like those exact words, Heather vibes like a hostage, haha. It seems like everybody feels beholden to Jen. And they're mindful about what they say and how they engage because it's Jen, except for maybe Mary. And I'm only episode 5, I think, right? That's what it seems like so far. Hi, Jay. That's what it seems like so far. Is like everybody kind of defaults to Jen. And I wonder, I mean, maybe y'all know this, but is Jen the person that shopped the show to the network? Like how Nene shopped the Atlanta women to the network. Is that what happened? Hi, Whiteria. And if that's the case, I wonder if that, hi, Curlin. I wonder if that is motivating some of this like allegiance. Okay. So yeah, she seems to just be very protected right now. Even when maybe she should not be. Boredom by Bravo. Okay. I'm going to look into it. It makes sense that it would be a cult. That would explain some of the stuff that's going on. Hi, Keita. Okay, y'all want me to talk about Edmund and I will continue to update y'all probably only on lives. I don't know if I'll make videos about it. That's why Chris was like, don't tell him you're watching it, because I was like, I don't want to have to make videos. Like I want to just like it and that's it. Hi, Myra. So we'll see. We'll see. I probably will update y'all on lives. Maybe I'll do videos. Maybe. But I will definitely keep my eye on the relationships. I think so far, who do I really like so far on the show? And babe, I might decide to listen, user Casey. Don't let me see you outside, girl. No, I'm just kidding. But Casey, she knows she wrong. She knows she wrong. But I will say, so far, I really like Meredith and her family. Like, to me, they give, outside of like the getting separated and date, like their vibe reminds me a lot of my own family's vibe. Like when Jen was like, your kids are in college, they don't want to hang out with you. I was like, yeah, like people that say that they're teenagers, like don't like them and don't want to hang out with them. And like, I can't relate to that. I don't have that at my house. My kids actually like me because I adjust my parenting for their age bracket, right? And a lot of people, the teenagers, they want to spend time away from you or they're argumentative or whatever because you're still talking to them and treating them like they're 5 and they're not, you know, and you have to be willing to adjust. So I feel like their vibe feels very similar to like how our family is. Like we spend a lot of time together as much as we have like our alone time, whatever, but like we are pretty like connected as a family, very playful, very relaxed energy together. So, I like their family unit right now. I appreciated Jen mentioning what she did about the Mormon church and why she left. I think Whitney is fun so far, even though how much older is her husband than her? And Heather it looks like she's going to be working through a lot of religious trauma on this show. So I'm really interested to see that play out. Because her having that breakdown about like, how can I be Mormon when I'm divorced? And like, how can I be a good Mormon? I'm a Mormon. Like, hi, Kev. Hello. Like that is, okay. Yeah. See, I knew something. I was like, I don't know about that. I don't be liking shit like that, y'all. I don't care. I don't care. But yeah. It seems like Heather has a lot to work through when it comes to religious trauma. So I am interested to see that on the show as well. However much that may be shown on the show. I really appreciated her talking about like a little bit of what Aisha Curry is kind of talking about recently about how she got married because like that was the thing. She was, Salt Lake City. Phyllis, she got married because that was what she was supposed to do in order to be like a good Mormon. It wasn't because she was in love. It wasn't any of that. It was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to want to be a wife and a mother. And this is the way that like I live my life and how hard it was for her to get divorced. Like, I think all of that is like really interesting to watch people be vulnerable to that level, and to share these things that kind of really challenge things that people just are like, well, that's true. It's just true because it's true, you know? And it's like, well, maybe it's not true. Like maybe that's just like what we've embraced as true, but is it really? And so I appreciated hearing that from her. Nobody else for me right now is a real standout. Not gonna lie. Like Mary is interesting to watch just because she's a little weird. Lisa is not really giving me too much of anything that I'm interested in personally. So far, again, on very early days. And I can't think of anybody else. So I guess that just goes to show that I'm not that interested if there is somebody I'm forgetting. Okay. Edmund and his mama. What do y'all feel about Edmund and his mama? Hi, Shy. What do y'all feel about Edmund and his mama? I'm not really that shocked by the relationship, if I'm honest. So y'all know that his sister-in-law was in my DMs. So y'all know that yes, wait, did you want me to say something else, Nikki? He wasn't really doing too much of nothing though, if you notice, user, right? He was real quiet. when his mom was there. She had a very big energy. Makes sense. Oh, you haven't watched the next episodes yet, Nikki. Girl. Gotta watch them. Hi, Kimberly. His mom has a very big energy. And so it makes sense to me that he kind of shrinks down. Hi. You're starting to believe the rumors that he's playing up to the cameras. Tell me why, bae. Tell me why. Risa, I love that because he was so normal around his mom. But I think again, it's because he's not even really like engaging so much. You know what I mean? Like Edmund is not even speaking around his mom. Risa, I don't even watch some of the shows you be talking about. I just love hearing you talk. Edmund really got kind of like small in front of his mom, right? Like he really wasn't saying too much of anything. His mom was really dominating the space on Love is Blind, Saba. His mom was really, and let me know if I said your name wrong. His mom was really like taking up a lot of space, which I mean, again, this is the edit that we got, right? It might be totally different from what actually happened or slightly different from what happened. He looks like his mother. I will say that he looks like his mom. They even have certain facial expressions. I was like, oh yeah, that's his mama's kid, you know? But his mom, what do I want to say about his mom? I'm trying not to like be too definitive about her because I know that we got a very short scene with her. Edmund's mom, according to Edmund, was an addict, right? Thank you. Thank you, little Miss Gigi. According to Edmund, his mother was an addict. Is it like say? But will you spell it phonetically for me? I want to try to say it right. Thank you, little Miss Gigi. I really want to try to say it right. I apologize for mispronouncing it. Thank you for correcting me. His mom was dealt with addiction, right? And so she like Saba. I want to get it right. Okay. Anywho. Okay. Yay. Okay. Saba. Don't be lying to me. You tell me if I'm saying it wrong. But his mom struggled with addiction, right? And was in and out of his life according to him, right? And I'm not saying this happens all the time. But sometimes what this can do is lead to guilt and sort of this like this like pretend level of like knowing or closeness, right? And so listening to her be like how she knows him and my son this and that was just interesting to me considering what I know about their dynamic from what he shared about him as a child and what it felt fake. I don't know how else to explain it. Like it felt fake. It felt like one of those moments where it's like your friend that's like, oh, I know all of this and that about them. And you're like, dude, we're not even that close, right? But it felt like he didn't want to correct it. And so he was being quiet. Like, listen, babe, me too. I immediately thought about her. So it made me feel like he was on mute a lot because we know that Edmund does not do well with like confronting difficult emotions or like having hard conversations, right? Which is why he acted like it was such a big deal that he and Calabria weren't having sex outside of the pods, even though she told him in the pods she wasn't going to. But he didn't have that conversation with her in the pods about how that bothered him because he don't know how to do difficult conversations, right? So it felt like a moment of me watching him where it's like maybe he needed to be like, that's like, mom, that's not accurate or that's not. and he didn't want to challenge that. And it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for adults to revert to when they grew up in households that were maybe not great, maybe unhealthy in some way or harmful in some way, to revert back to how they engaged in that family unit as a child when they're back in that family unit. It's why people will go to visit family together and they'll be like, oh, my husband is being weird, or my wife is acting like this around her family. Like they can't understand it. It's because the person has reverted back to how they engage in that family unit, because that's the only way they can survive that family unit. That's the role that they play in the family. So it felt like he was acting like how he's always had to act around his mom in order to survive. Remember, he told us, I forgave my mom because I know that she loves me. Not about mom being accountable, not about mom changing her behavior, not about her apologizing, it was nothing other than I know that she loves me, right? And so if you've had the practice of excusing someone's bad behavior so that you can continue to make sense of you being in a relationship with them, then like you're not going to push back on the things that they're saying, right? And so to me, you really have to like be on mute in order to be around her, which is why his mom took up so much space. And we really didn't see him do anything other than kind of sit back and be quiet. That's what I felt like I was watching. Hi, Jamila. I don't know if she thinks she did anything wrong, user. The way she was, again, y'all know that his sister-in-law was in my inbox. So there are some things that I know that I would never say out loud because it's his story to tell. It's not even hers to tell me, right? So I'm not going to tell it. But there are some things that have been alleged that is like, it would take a lot of work to still be in relationship with his mom. And it doesn't sound like they did it. From what he said. Hi, Emerald. From what he said, right? The work that would have needed to be done to make sense for them to be in a relationship does not sound like it happened. And so to me, you have to be, and his mom did say, he will like kind of put things away. And I told y'all, right? He seems like he compartmentalizes. Like that's a practice behavior of him. Oh, hi, Nene. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. Like that's a practice behavior of his to compartmentalize. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, he must be shoving things away in order to be able to be in this relationship. And so to me, it's like, I don't know if I think he's playing up to the cameras as much as I feel like he can't show up like that with his mom. Hi, Moonlight. Like, I've always been the child that was going to tell you exactly what the fuck I thought. I didn't really care how you felt about it as a parent, right? My parents would ask me to do something and I would outright be like, no, I'm not doing that. Right? Like, I don't want to. I've just always been that kid, right? So I continue to show up that way around my parents, right? But there are some people that, you know, they become a different person once they leave their parents' household, once they're able to kind of really decide who they want to be. And it sounds like, or it seems like Edmund has a dynamic with his mom where who he is maybe in the real world away from her is different than who he has to be around her in order to survive her environment, right? And those of you that maybe have situations or have family units where it's like, in order to deal with this parent, I got to do this or I got to do that, right? Like, you know what that's like. And so to me, I felt like that's what I was watching more than it's like, oh, I think he's faking the other stuff. I felt like we were seeing this other version of himself that he has to be in order to be able to be in a relationship with his mom. That said, and I said this to y'all last time, that said, his mom talking about the daughter-in-laws, I was like, yeah, I could tell she one of them. She one of them. You know, where it's like, you're the problem, but you think the daughter-in-laws are the problem. You know what I mean? One of those mother-in-laws that thinks that it's, you know, it's the daughter-in-law that's tripping, right? Rather than it being like, oh, I'm doing things that you know, are problematic or are harmful, or that should be said to my sons. You know what I mean? Interesting reset. Interesting that a social worker and someone who seems to have arrested development ended up paired. I mean, I don't know, like y'all know I'm not gonna well, arrested development is a pop culture term, but I think if nothing else, he has trauma. And I think that is very interesting that the two of them ended up paired up. I think that's very interesting. And then Calabria on AD's podcast was saying that some other girl was talking to Edmund and he was telling her, this is where Calabria, you gonna lose me, girl. You gonna lose me, because I'm giving a lot of grace to Calabria, right? But Calabria said on the podcast with AD something about how there was another girl, she was making eggs, and the other girl was like, oh yeah, he's saying that I'm his number one, and blah, 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 blah. Ain't no way I'm listening to you tell everybody in this room that the man that I'm talking to is saying the same things to you that he's saying to me, and I'm not going to be like, red flag, hold on, flag on a play, this motherfucker is tripping. So I don't know why she didn't clock that way earlier. Hi, Amina. Like, I felt like she should have, and maybe they did and we didn't see it. Exactly, babe. Maybe he did, maybe she did, and we just didn't get to see it. But I feel like you should have been able to then clock, like, oh, there might be some problematic behavior here, right? The fact that when, okay, babe, the fact that when they were having that conversation at Saddle Ranch and he was trying to default to, well, I just love you, I love you, instead of actually talking about the shit. Hi, Kiana. Like, girl, but you knew that in the pause, but you were so busy thinking it was sweet and it was cute that he was crying, or thinking it was admirable that he had moved on with his mother. You never were like, well, I hear you. Yes, she loved you, but like, what actually happened to help you to be able to move on? Did y'all have a conversation? Like, and again, maybe they had this conversation and we just didn't get to see it, right? Seems like someone with narcissistic tendencies attract codependent folks. Who do you think has narcissist tendencies? I think either way that Calabria, and she actually did say this on the podcast with AD, that she kind of likes to fix people. I think that, like, as a social worker, as a therapist, and I've said this to y'all before, it can be very easy to fall into savior mode, to feel like, oh, it's not too much for me. I'm not going to throw you away. I'm going to love you through it all. Oh, she falls for potential. Yeah, I'm going to love you through it all. None of that matters to me. We can get through it. Like, it's very easy to fall into that mode. You have to make a choice to not. You have to make a choice to be with a partner that can match you or meet you, right? When you tell them they're not matching you, do they rise to the occasion? Do they attempt to step up to the plate? Or do they do what Edmund does and says, I just love you. I love you. I love you so much. Like, okay, but that's not fixing the problem. That's not dealing with it. You know what I mean? And we don't do potential-based relationships, y'all. We're not doing that. So yeah, I think that, you know, Edmund and his mom doesn't shock me. Again, I think that's who he has to be around, his mother, in order to survive it. What kind of casting do these producers do? You know, that's a good question. Hi, Mimi. It is great that she's self-aware, and then you have to choose to do something with that information, though, right? And as a social worker, well, actually, I don't know what she does as a travel social worker, but as a clinician, you know that people can know things in their head that does not always translate to behavior. Does not always translate to behavior. They cast a rapist before. Is that why they're being sued, user? What happened to the background checks? Was he not convicted? Is that what it was? That goes back to the system, right? Hi, Yemi. Or Yemio. That goes back to the system, right? Yeah, I agree, Aloha. Oh, wow. That's wild. I can, but One girl got, oh my gosh. You would think at that point that they would have just shuttered the doors. Oh, the lawsuit is about toxic workplace and inappropriate pay. You would think at that point knew that they would have just shuttered the doors to the show. Was he a rapist before? Like, had he already had allegations or convictions before and then they cast him and then he also did this? Or did it happen and that was like the first time people knew about it? I'm trying to understand. But you would think after that they would be like so much more cautious. It was alleged before the show. See? This is why, listen, this is why I always believe victims. I don't care. I'd rather be wrong for believing you than to not believe you and make somebody else be in danger because of it. I'd rather be like, "Ooh, my bad," than to be like, "I don't believe you," and then someone gets hurt. Okay, so Tonique, they are saying that there was a person that was on season 5, they believe, of Love is Blind, who had a violent past and allegations of assault, who then ended up essaying his connection. Like he was a rapist. And this is, again, why I'm always going to be like, I'm going to believe you until you're proven to be a liar. Renee, her fiance, but they cast held a pew pew to her head. Listen. And this is why, listen, Ann, this is why, what was that app that was supposed to be like, oh, warn you about this man, warn you about that man? What was the app called? The T app. The T app, this goes back to how I talk about gossip actually keeping women safe and keeping people safe. Hi, Miss Ellen. And then people end up thinking it's just gossip. And so now you fucking assholes are screenshotting and sharing the information and making other people unsafe. And now these fucking reactive ass men making fucking apps just to dog women. Like, y'all are not doing it for the same reasons. You in here calling women bitches and hoes. Okay. And what about it? Why are you minding my pocketbook? What about it? Who cares? We're actually trying to keep women safe over here. It'd be one thing if y'all motherfuckers was in there actually on some like, oh, this girl, you know, set me up and robbed me. Or, you know, like if you were actually keeping each other safe, but that's not what you're doing. You're in there just being assholes to women. And then you got women so fucking male-centered on the app sharing the information and making other women unsafe. Like, the shit is not just hot goss. Like, I feel like apps like T-App have to get to a point where, and I know there's all kinds of shit behind the app, whatever, right? But the concept in and of itself, there are apps where you can't screen record, you can't do certain things. So I feel like you all could create measures to keep it safer. And like, bitch, actually have some morals, at least if you gonna share the shit, at least black out people's information and faces. You know what I mean? Like, people doing whole fucking lives exposing people. That's so gross to me. That's so gross to me. You worried about whether or not you're on the T app rather than what could you have done that would make you be on the T app. I don't understand that. So they are unable to control who they cast. Well, who decides casting? There's a casting director, is there not? Someone's in charge of it. Like, that's so gross to me. But yeah, to your point, someone was like, this is why the church looks down on gossip. Yeah, they want to call you a busybody, right? That's super Christian, right? You're a busybody. But it's like, but gossip is what keeps people safe. There's this song I've told y'all about before where the artist talks about how women whispering is how you learn to identify the wolves in sheep's clothing. I don't care. Oh, well, be mad about it. Stop doing shit to be told about. User on God, like that game show back in the day. That game show or that game dating show that cast that serial killer rapist guy who ended up like winning a date with some girl and she just ended up not going on the date and that's what kept her safe. And the thing about it is that if we would take grape seriously the first time, it wouldn't be so bad because honestly, the majority of offenders are repeat offenders. It's not just millions. I mean, it is, right? But y'all know what I'm saying, right? It's not like every man is one, but y'all letting the motherfucker stay out and then he's doing his shit multiple times. They're repeat offenders. That's why the numbers be as high as they are. Hi, JT. But, anywho, don't get me started on that because grape laws are really just property laws. And I know y'all tired of hearing me talk about that, but that's the truth. It's weird how this is only as common on Love is Blind, but not The Bachelor. But you know why, though, right? Because it's only one man in that scenario. It's only one man in that scenario. Not all men, but always the man, okay? Hi, Rachel. Ooh, talk about it, Amina. All SAers, all abusers, they are repeat offenders. Thank you. And that be the problem is that y'all won't take the shit seriously the first fucking time. And so we end up in situations, they don't do thorough background checks. It sounds like they can't possibly be. And here's the thing. This is why it's like, again, it goes back to the system because if you were taking it seriously the first time and getting convictions the first time, then people would have records for you to find. But so often, rapists get away with the behavior that all you have are allegations. And that is a lot harder to come across and to find than it is to just go and look up in a system. You know what I mean? Clock it, babe. There's a PDF in Michigan going on trial for Schmurder, and he had been convicted of being a PDF multiple times. Yeah. Y'all know I watch a shit ton of true crime, and it'd be like, yeah, they had done this thing like 4 times before then, and then, we caught him for this other thing. Like, because y'all don't take violence against women seriously. Which is why, not to make everything Love Island related, right? But which is why so many fucking people don't think it was anything wrong with what Alan did to Alandria. It's not that big of a deal. Never mind what it incited against her. Not that big of a deal. He just said some shit about a girl. Whatever. Who cares? New. That and if y'all know the history of grape laws, I've told y'all this before, so I know that y'all know. If y'all know the history of grape laws, the only reason why they exist is because women were seen as property. And so once a woman got graped, her father that she belonged to or her husband that she belonged to, their property was devalued. And so the laws said that now you have to recoup to the man what he has lost in the value of his property. That's what those laws are based in. So they're never going to censor the victims because they were never meant to censor the victims. That's not what they were made for. So yeah, it's like, okay, well now I guess we got to give you time now because, oh, we're moving toward this more woke. You know, like it was never about having justice for women or people in general, right? But when it was founded, women explicitly. It was never about that. Never about that. Miss Petty, we have talked about Wendy and her lawsuit, or yeah, I guess it's her charges, we'll say. Her charges. And we've also talked about Edmund from Love is Blind and a little bit about Salt Lake City and Miss Mary and some of the other girlies. And most states don't share data, which is why abusive foster parents usually can just move. Like those foster parents that just got arrested for adopting, or those adoptive parents that got arrested and convicted for adopting those 3 black boys, or 3, I think it was 3 black boys to work as slaves on their farm. 5, even worse. Disgusting. Wild AF, Miss Petty. Like, yes, fanatic. Yes, like, unwell. Unwell. Listen, I listen to adoptees. Y'all, if you're not plugged into like adoption community, you should be. You should be. You should be. Adoptive community have lots of stories. Exactly. Exactly, Amina. They have lots of stories, especially transracial adoptees have lots of stories. You should be listening to them and their stories. It would shift a lot of what you think about certain things, right? Yeah, absolutely. It's about trying to be a savior. You know what I mean? Amina, clock it, right? This is why when we're having like the whole unaccompanied minor thing that they're trying to push through right now, like it's dangerous for children. But y'all don't actually give a fuck about kids. This is why I can't get on the boat. I can feel myself about to rant. I'm trying to control it. This is why I cannot get on the boat with people that are like, I don't like kids. I'm sorry. How do you not like a whole group of people? How do you not like a whole group of people? And let's keep it a buck. Kids are the most oppressed people in our fucking society. I can't ever get on that boat. You can be annoyed or you can be, you're overstimulated or whatever by children, but to say that you don't fucking like an entire group for nothing other than their age, that shit is weird. I'm trying to, user. That shit is weird. Exactly, fanatic. They are completely helpless, and we structure society for them to be that way, which is why I'm almost always on the kid's side. Hi, Sheen. How are you? Or Shanae. Tell me how I say that. I like to say y'all names right. Y'all know that. Oh, yeah, that looks so much better, baby.
I think I'm not doing this one, but I think I might not.
You gonna chill for now?
I don't know. I'm thinking about doing this one just because, like, when I
now I'm curious about the root balls.
Yeah, but when I poured out this one, out of that bit, I mean, that one was too damn big. But like all the soil on it was still like, and I know I just watered them a little bit, like a week or so ago, but it was still so like wet and compacted. And it's supposed to be the type of soil, cactus soil for that. But we'll see. But I might redo that one too.
Please tell me how to say it right. Will you spell it phonetically for me? Hi, Elisa. I want to say it right. And then if I ever say it wrong, y'all, if I say your names wrong, correct me. Okay? Correct me. And listen, you don't even, Shanice, thank you. That should have been easy for me to guess. That should have been easy. I apologize. Thank you, Shanice. Nola. Okay, thank you. Listen, I want y'all to tell me how to say your names. Okay? Children are extremely unprotected. Our society positions them to be that way, right? Our society positions them to be the most vulnerable among us in the population. So they are so important. So to user, you're funny. So to say that I watched the Gabriel Hernandez documentary and literally sobbed my eyes out. Sobbed my eyes out. So like it positions it to be that way. And exactly, Rachel, listen, don't do it. It's heartbreaking, Erica, like it's heartbreaking, honestly. Everybody felt that baby. You know what I mean? Everybody. It's built for adults, but what's so interesting to me is that people act like they don't understand that children become adults. How can you have so much hatred and disdain for something that you used to be? I don't understand that. I don't understand it. It's like people get so disconnected from the fact that like you also used to be a child. Even when people get upset about children having like big emotions, clock it, Birdie, clock it. People get upset about children having big emotions as if first of all, a lot of y'all motherfuckers don't know how to regulate your emotions and you're grown. But you didn't know how to regulate your emotions as a child either. They're dealing with the same size of emotion as you, but with less practice. Can you have a little fucking grace? Their brains don't have as much time. They don't have as much practice, like literally like they don't have as many years practicing how to manage that emotion, but it feels the exact same as the fucking emotions that you have as an adult that you struggle with, but they're supposed to know how to do it. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And then like to y'all's point, a lot of people were either hated as children or they hated themselves as children. And so now they project onto children because being a child is what the problem must be. It's weird. It's weird. Like, I know people are like, oh, they have a really hard time with like middle school kids. And those are like my favorite. That's like my favorite age of kid. That's my favorite age of kid because it's like, that's when they are old enough to do like a lot of real like deep critical thinking. Like they're really getting that skill, like a real good handle on it. And they're also forming a lot of their identity. And like, I just feel like they need so much tenderness at that age. And people are so like, they only either like them really little or much older and or they don't like them at all, and I don't understand it. Period, Erica. I had a friend say I only like infants because they can't speak. We aren't friends anymore. Period. Because that shit is weird.
Why don't you let that child speak?
Clock it, Erica. I worked child welfare for 16 years. I used the Hernandez story to teach my team new techniques and to explain why I asked them to do certain things. I love that it can be a learning lesson for people moving forward. I hate that it had to be at his expense. You know what I mean? Which I know that that's not what you're, but it's like, what can we take from this? You know what I mean? Exactly. Listen, I am y'all know that I'm a mother to 4 teenagers at this point. I have to my default is to get frustrated because I'm also a human, right? About some of the shit they do. I have to remind myself, like, actually, I know what that fucking feels like. Let me take a beat. You know what I mean? But you have to be willing to like reflect on the fact that like you also have had this experience. How can you use that to help them? Exactly. They are literally figuring things out in real time. They are learning. Like, what was the grace that you wish you would have gotten, and how can you offer that instead of being mad at them because people were mad at you? I feel that, Rachel. Using that to help your sisters. Yes. As you should, right? Like, it takes a village. You know what I mean? But so, like, this is why when I'm watching Salt Lake City, I'm like, I can see that Mary's son is sad. I don't see how they don't see it. Exactly, Birdie. We have to remember that we didn't deserve to be treated like that as kids. If you didn't deserve it, why are you giving it to the next generation? User clock it. Our job as parents is to offer a bit of insight and empower them to make good choices. And again, I think this is on the whole community, right? This is on the whole community. Like when I've told y'all before, my kids, I consider the kids at their school to be my community too, because they're in community with my children. And so part of my role as a community member is to make sure that I stay on the asses of the other adults in that building to make sure that we're all remembering to put the children first. That we're all being mindful about how we're engaging with the children, right? That we are remembering that like they are just fucking kids. Doesn't matter how mature they are at this moment or that moment, like they are still just children and they're trying to figure things out. And so how do we do things to make it as safe and as easy as possible for them to figure the things out? Rachel, that's the one. People got to remember there's a lot of kids that are absent of love and attention. That's like something I would say to the teachers when I would meet them at the beginning of the year to talk to them about my own children, is like not every parent has the capacity to come up here and to have this conversation with you. So this conversation I'm having with you about my child and how you can best support my child, think about how you apply this to the other kids in your room. What can you notice about other kids in the room that's like, oh, they might also benefit from this, thing, or that changing this about the classroom benefits all the kids, right? Like, how can you apply this to all the students? Because not every parent has the capacity to do that or even knows that they should. And so we have to work as a community, as a village, to support the children. People say the children are the future, and it's like they're also the right now. I was 16, 17 years old the first time I did my first political protest. I was engaging politically at a young age, and that's because I had adults around me encouraging me to do that. They're the right now. They're the change makers right now. They impact their peers right now. So what are you pouring into them to be able to do that in an effective and useful and helpful way? What are you doing? Or are you just stuck on your I don't fucking like kids thing? Exactly. Ooh, clock it, Allie. How do people say that and then proceed to not protect said future? Clock it. Because this is why people expect people to they turn 18 and all of a sudden they're supposed to know how to do a bunch of shit you never told them how to do or taught them how to do. How are they supposed to know how to do that? How are they supposed to know how to do? How are they supposed to know when to say no? How are they supposed to know when to tell their boss, actually, you're trying to violate boundaries that are harmful to me? How are they supposed to know how to do that if you don't ever let them practice that with you? They're supposed to just grow up and all of a sudden they have a backbone, even though you've been telling them to just do as they're told their whole lives? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Even cleaning. Like I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, you have chores because yes, that's like what you contribute to the household. But because when you leave my house, you're not going to know how to do these things just because now you're an adult. You're learning how to do these things so that you can care for yourself when you leave my home. If people want to have kids, they need to go to therapy. On God. If there's something I could do differently, I would have done that. I would do that differently because I did it before I had kids. And then it's like your kids get to certain ages and they start triggering certain stuff and you're like, oh, I need to deal with that. Hold on, what's that about? And I don't think parents get told that enough. That when your kids get to certain ages where you had certain traumas show up, that shit will start to show up for you again. And it'll impact your parenting one way or another. If you're not careful. So you have to be able to identify it so that you can make a conscious choice around how it's impacting your parenting. You don't want it to be reactive and subconscious because then you have less control over the outcome and the impact. Yeah. Therapy is like, listen, y'all know I'm an advocate for therapy because I'm a therapist, right? So obviously I'm biased toward it. But yeah, I agree. I agree. It's really, really hard. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us have to reparent ourselves, unfortunately. Especially, no shade, if you had parents that grew up in certain generations, right? Where these things were less talked about, where they were less normalized, where they were less like examined and worked through, you know what I mean? You're having to learn things that you didn't get at home because your parents didn't know how to do it, right? Or felt like it was unnecessary to do. And so a lot of us end up reparenting ourselves if we can identify that we need to. If we even can. Okay, y'all. I just wanted to hop on and yap with y'all a little bit today. I'm gonna be watching Salt Lake City. I might have some more thoughts. Maybe I will make videos. I don't know. I will be back on Sunday. I got a question about Chris Brown and Black community's allegiance to Chris Brown. I will be answering that question this week. Thank you so much. I will be answering that question this week on Sunday and talking about Glorilla when it comes to Chris Brown and that whole thing. So I'll be talking about that a little bit this Sunday, and then obviously whatever else comes up. Y'all, if something happens in Love Island world, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. And I'm always willing to do panel. We just have to get to a certain amount of likes in a certain amount of time so that it makes sense. But I'm happy to do panel on Sunday as well. Yeah, Rachel, like, listen, I'm like, I don't know why. I mean, it could just be that I'm back on my bullshit, which, hey, hey, that might be what it is. I might just be back on my bullshit. But I woke up this morning, like, in this energy of, like, and so I don't be taking that lightly. I don't think about Taylor Swift. I mean, I would say the only thought I have about Taylor Swift is like, I don't know why people are shocked. I don't know why people are shocked by it. Like, choosing to release your album exclusively in Target during a boycott because they rolled back their DEI is like a choice. So why would we be shocked about the content of the album? Oh, Tashina, there's no Love Island news. What I was telling people earlier is like I woke up with like something on my mind, and I don't take that lightly. And so I was asking people like, has something happened? And I just don't know. Or is like maybe something coming. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, she made a choice. And so to me, like the content of the album shouldn't be that shocking based on the choices that she made. And that clock it, Rachel. Like I said, I might just be back on my bullshit. Do you mean Love is Blind videos, Ann? I haven't made any yet, but I will make some. Okay, dark skinned lover girl. Okay, Wendy and her husband put out a statement saying they look forward to court. I'm just y'all, it's not necessarily bad. I don't know what it's Love Island, fuck no. No shade, but I just don't have anything else to say about them at this point. I feel like it's tired. Subscribers, y'all got my take about the girlfriend boyfriend situation. But I just feel like at this point I don't have nothing else to say about them. Maybe that is why they're cheesing in the mugshot. No, agreed, babe. I'm the same way, user. I said, unless the manager wants me to watch Love Island next season, I don't care to watch it. What's the one thing you care about is happening, Erica? I'm excited to see what Wendy and them, like, I'm curious to see what happens. I'm curious to see what happens. Hi, Snoop. Love Island Games was more fun. I was very disappointed with the outcome. Not shocked about Garby and Kendall at all. Duh. Are Ty and Justine like actually like dating now? They're not dating. Okay. Okay. I also want her to just maybe the sex is good. I don't know. Shit. What is she getting out of it? I don't know. Opting out of Love is Blind next season. Yeah, I literally only watched it this season because it was in Denver. And I watched it 2 seasons ago because of Chelsea. So I'm not a big Love is Blind watcher in general. Y'all know that. I tell y'all that all the time. Like, I'm so serious. I don't be watching love shows. That's not my thing. That guy did come out and embarrass Andreina. Which guy? Oh, shit, Erica. I forgot all about that shit. Listen, y'all, I be telling y'all to inbox me and remind me. I forgot all about that. Inbox me and remind me. Oh, Johnny. What did he do to embarrass her that was different than what he did on the show? What did he say? He said something? Rachel. I did do a video actually with some book suggestions. He went on an interview and purposely said they slept together. Is that embarrassing? Do you think she's embarrassed by that? Did I watch the Queer Love or Queer Ultimatum? I did not watch season 2. I thought season 1 was I felt like season 1 was like not well done. Wait. It was a video. He was kicking her out of the house post intimacy. So you're saying to me, he left the villa, they met up, they smashed, and then he made a video about it? Is that what y'all are telling me? That just irritated my soul. So he was saying she's fake mad and they're sleeping together. Well, she just better have some plan Bs on deck and condoms, baby. What a piece of shit. What a piece of shit. And she's silly for that because she was standing on all that. It's a never, it's a no. And here's the thing, you get to change your mind. But when people asked her after she left, people asked her on Snapchat. And she was like, it's never again for me. It's never again, blah, 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 blah. You could have just been like, whatever I do is my business, y'all. I'm just a fan of like standing on your shit. If you gonna do it, stand on that shit. That's all. I don't give a fuck if you do it, but at least be willing to stand on it. And he's whack for that because who's you pillow talking to the whole world? What a fucking cornball. Nigga, that's some middle school, fucking high school ass behavior running around talking about the coochie you got. That's so fucking simple. That's so fucking douchey. Like, that's so whack. How fucking old are you? Like, that shit is so fucking corny. Corny.
It was corny when we was kids doing that shit.
But you was at least a fucking kid, so you definitely corny as fuck now as a grown up. What an asshole. But unshocking. Unshocking. Oh, Jade, we are actually wrapping up. We were talking about Andreina getting caught in 4K with Johnny.
I'm about to turn on this air fryer.
Okay, baby. It's fine. I'm about to get off. What are you making?
I'm about to make train some fries in the corner. You want something that'll make it get money, some rice and fucking shit.
No, I don't want anything. I was just curious. Hi, Frankie Beverly. Hello, hello. Yeah, so y'all, that's not shocking to me. He's a piece of shit. I wish Andreina would just stand on it though. Okay. You're going to send it to me? Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I will watch it. Y'all, I'm very interested to see what plays out with Wendy and Eddie. Season 2 of Love Island Games. Yes, we watched it. Well, we talked about it in here. I don't even think he's a super villain. Like Johnny is not a villain to me. He's just an asshole. Maybe because I don't see him as like, oh, no. I didn't watch Love Island USA with him. I've only watched him on games. I would say that I don't perceive him as maybe like sneaky enough to be a villain. He's just an asshole. Like, I feel like and I'm not trying to call him stupid, y'all. I just think there's like a certain level of like intellect and like covertness and like sneakiness that has to happen for me to feel like you're a villain. Personally.
He ain't got it.
I just perceive him as like a dick. And like a hoochie. I just think of him as a hoochie and a dick. Watch his season, I'll see. I don't need any more screen time of Johnny. But yeah, y'all, I'm excited to see what happens with Wendy and Eddie. If they're looking forward to court, then I'm hoping that they have something that's going to explain this, because even if it's not as bad, at least, right? Even if it's just not as bad as, hi, Aaliyah, not as bad as it has been put, like the charges, you know what I mean? Hi, Lex. That would make sense for me, you know? It just doesn't, I agree, Frankie. I can't wrap my head around it. I cannot wrap my head around it. It just feels so counter how we see them live. And maybe that's part of the scam. I don't know, you know, but it's like, we don't see them living in very extravagant ways. Again, I did say, like, maybe it's because the businesses went upside down, like the candle and the bed sheet business. Like, maybe they didn't do well and then they had to, like, get themselves out of debt. Like, maybe that's what it is. But like Jen Shaw, I could believe that you'd be scamming because you're spending $85,000 on one party. You're on a college coach's salary. I don't know about that. You know? So it's like, believable. I don't understand it with Eddie and Wendy. It doesn't make sense to me. So we'll see. And I could see that, Aaliyah, like, we've talked about that. I definitely, like, could see that. But, like, Wendy and Eddie are still in the same house. I think they were doing, like, some renovations, but, like, they're still in the same house. Like, you don't see them, like, it's not like, oh, they now are driving a Maybach. Or, like, you just don't see that. And, like, maybe that's part of what, like, maybe they've not shown those things. I don't know. But it just feels odd. Dark Skin Lover Girl, that's so funny. I mean, if nothing else, I will say, right, that, like, again, the filing of the two claims could be, like, a thing, depending on what they filed the two claims about. Like, I have no idea, right? We'll have to, like, obviously wait and see. But, yeah, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm ready for these final episodes of Love is Blind to drop next week. I will definitely have some more Love is Blind videos. That's true. They do also have to do glam, wear fancy clothes, do fancy trips, etc. I feel like, wasn't she already doing glam and shit when she was working on, like, when she was being a commentator and shit? Like, I feel like Wendy is a little bit different than the other women because I think she might have been doing a lot of these things she might have already been doing anyway because of the arena that she was in. So it still doesn't make sense to me that would be adding so much more financially as a burden to her life. I don't know.
She was already doing that. Being on those TV shows, yes, you're doing that already. And a lot of times, but a lot of times the TV shows are covering that.
Yeah.
TV show, you know what I'm saying?
Like it could be in your contract or something.
Yeah, well, it's just a part of because you're on TV, so they already have their own.
Oh yeah, but I mean, she used to do a lot of stuff in her house, like just remote in. So anyway, y'all, I don't know. We're gonna see. I don't know. It's gonna be curious. They aren't dropping that type of money anymore. I agree, they're definitely not. Which is why Nene left, right? And they ain't been the same since. They need her back. But y'all, we're gonna see. I don't know.
Your rice is back.
For them to say they're ready, they're like excited or happy for court or whatever the statement was. I mean, again, a lot of them will say things like that, but I am excited to see how this all plays out. My hope is that in some way something gets explained. You know what I mean? Yeah, Dark Skin Lover Girl told us that they put out a statement already saying that, like, they're ready for court or they're excited for court, something like that. So we'll see. We'll see. It's just it is very, very shocking. It's something I think very unexpected for me, personally. Like, I was like, what? Like, that is like the last person that I would expect. Like, Ashley is the one I would expect over anybody. Because what does Ashley do? What does she do? What is her job? What does she do? You know? So, like, I would expect that, like, from an Ashley on Potomac over the Osepos. You know what I mean? Like, well, dark skinned lover girl, she did. I don't know how much she got, but I know that she got some money, which was initially, I think, not going to happen, but it did work out where she did get some money. But she's also started she started G&A, which we know ain't making no money, to Aaliyah's point. But they had to close down that restaurant, Dark Skin Lover Girl. Okay, so no, the 20 million is his entire net worth. They had to close down the restaurant because it didn't do well. So it's like, and the house that she's living in is in his name. Last we heard. It could be different now. I don't know. I ain't looking up tax records and shit. It could be different now. But last we heard, it was in his name. And yeah, like, all that we know she's doing is like performing drag, trying to sing, and doing G&A.
Trying to see.
We're talking about Ashley. She could have made a yoga empire at this point, like, read the room. Exactly. Like, girl, stay in your lane. She want to be Candace so bad. Okay, that's me being petty. Yes, dark skin lover girl. She does drag. She did a drag show when they did the Austin trip. What is her persona called again? I don't remember. It's something pretty clever. I can't remember what it is. But it's Ashton something, right? It's something else. It's pretty clever. I can't remember what it is.
Can you read it real quick, or you about to get up?
Yeah, let me. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, like that's someone that I could have believed, like, oh yeah, she was scamming, right? I could see why she would need to do that. I don't understand it for the Osepos. I'm gonna be honest. Shit, I could even see.
Oh, you know what? I'll put this in a different pot.
That's so funny, Erica. I could even see. This is a little messy. I could see Kay and her man scamming. I could see that. Like the companies being shell companies or something. Like, I could see that. Because he gives like sinister. You know, like like, I can see that. But I'm very shocked by the Osepos. See, Washington, we thinking on the same wave. Like, yeah, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But, you know, I hope good things for them. You know, they've got 3 beautiful children. Cam is like so adorable. That little girl is getting so big. She's so freaking cute. The boys are funny. The son talking about working at Chick-fil-A, child. Did y'all notice in the first episode, me and Chris were like, Eddie had on his shoes in the house. And we were like, Eddie, what the fuck are you doing? That's an African house. I know you're supposed to not have on your damn shoes, right? Wendy too. I think they all might have had on their shoes. We were like, what are y'all doing with y'all shoes on in the house, right? And then Eddie puts his foot up on the furniture. Hi, Ryan. And me and Chris were like, and his foot is on the furniture in his shoes. And then Cameron comes over and like moves his foot off of the thing. She's like, what are you doing? She's too cute. Too cute. So adorable. The thing is, I would almost be like it's a storyline if it was during filming, but it happened after filming. Thank you so much, Rachel. It happened after filming. So that is like, what is going on? But I'm going to be optimistic for them. I'm going to be hopeful. Again, I don't know. No, Emerald, I'm not sure, honestly. Like, it doesn't make sense in my head. Like the things that I've seen, I know that one of my viewers said that they went and read the court documents, but that it didn't really get into details. And so the things that I've seen, I'm like, I feel like that could be explained away like pretty easily. But I also know that they're not telling everything to us as the public. You know what I mean? Like I know that. I hope they did. I hope they did, Ilea. You know, but I'm like, the things that they're saying of like, oh, she didn't report her wedding band stolen initially. And then we saw her in it in pictures. I'm like, y'all know that you can take pictures at any point and post them at any point, right? Like that to me is not convincing enough for me to be like, oh my God, she's scamming about this. Like that's not convincing enough for me. And then them saying like, oh, there was no shoe print on the toilet seat when the person climbed from the roof down. I'm like, so you don't think they could have just wiped it up? And then when they left, like, you don't think that? You don't think that that could have happened? If someone is choosing to climb onto your roof and come in through the fucking skylight, they might be a pretty good burglar. You don't think that they took some precautions potentially? Like, I don't understand that. We're not talking about somebody that's like doing a fast smash and grab at someone's fucking house, you know, just because they need a fixer, they need a, you know, pay their rent or whatever. Like this was planned. They gonna be professionals if they doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like that don't shock me. I wouldn't be shocked if they came in through the roof and then put booties on their shoes, and none of that would shock me. None of that would shock me. So it's like the things that they've said as to like the evidence as to why they must have committed fraud. And again, I know we're only getting so much as the public. I'm like, that doesn't really mean anything to me. So we'll just have to wait and see what else comes out. But again, it's very shocking to me. And I know that Dark Skin Lover Girl said that they put out a statement saying that they're like ready for court or excited for court or whatever. So it's like, yeah, I'm not going to get on the train of like, they absolutely did it. No shade. Or maybe some. Just because a fucking insurance company is taking them to court. I don't trust y'all motherfuckers. I'm not taking no shit at face value just because y'all fucking said it. That's why the whole time with the Jussie Smollett thing, I was never moved by what the cops were saying. I don't give a, I'm sorry. I'm not just trusting you because I'm supposed to trust you just because you're a police officer. That's crazy that you think that I think that. You know? So like, I'm not. Like, I'm not believing that just because you said it. You know, it's going to have to actually, I'm going to have to see something that's like, oh yeah, that makes, I believe you now, you know? So I'm waiting to see. And then the documentary came out and I was like, yeah, I was right to believe that man. Exactly. We supposed to believe insurance companies now. They supposed to be trustworthy. Has Luigi taught us nothing? I will say that, like, I know, right, Erica, we lie every day on these phones. Erica works for an insurance company, y'all. I know that insurance companies, like, will do thorough research or whatever, but I'm like, I'm not just going to believe you because you said it. I'm not going to believe you just because you said it when I don't think that you're believable. You have demonstrated that you're less trustworthy than they have. You're going to have to prove it. You know, I'm sorry. Not sorry. So, yeah, y'all. We're going to wait and see. We're going to wait and see. But we definitely will be talking about it because y'all know that Wendy is my favorite. She's my girly on the show. Love me some Wendy on Real Housewives of Potomac. Not that using AI to do research. I can't. Period. I love me some Wendy. I do. An unpopular opinion, as much as Candace gets on my nerves too, and I felt like she got played by, like a fucking fiddle by Giselle and them and Ashley and all them that season with Monique, I do enjoy Candace on my screen too. And I actually, even though I didn't like how they did Monique, don't misunderstand me, Candace is more entertaining than Monique. Sorry. Exactly, Emerald. Like, she be getting on my damn nerves, but she's good TV. Monique's entire storyline was her being married to that man and being a mother. And that's just never going to be relatable for me personally. For me personally. My identity cannot be centered around being somebody's wife and being somebody's mom. As someone that used to feel like that was true, I can't relate to that now. And so that is less like engaging for me as a viewer. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see her too. I think it's going to be interesting having her as a friend of the show. I hope that she doesn't actually get mad about Stacey trying to talk to her ex Chris, if that is true, because that's your ex. Why do you care? Stacey's not your friend, unless we're gonna find out that she is. But Stacey don't know you. Why she can't talk to that man? That would be weird if she takes that stance, in my opinion, personally. No, yeah, Monique's clapbacks were good. I appreciated the notebook. Again, I do feel like they did her dirty. Hi, Niecy. Listen, see, Washington, I need Care Bear. We're talking about Wendy and Eddie and the Potomac girlies. I would really like to see Ashley leave. Oh, they weren't going to last, Erica, because this is again, when you center your identity around being a traditional wife, right? A trad wife. My entire purpose is to cater to my man and my children. And then you actually in real life are an ambitious woman who wants an identity of her own. Eventually those things are going to clash. And that's why the marriage was going to fall apart, because now she wants to start a podcast. Now she wants to do this. And he wants to be taken care of, because that's what you did for the entirety of the beginning of your marriage. So, of course, it was going to fall apart. This is what y'all are seeing with, not them falling apart, but this is what you're seeing with Aisha, is she's coming to this realization and talking about it publicly now, because apparently it's been happening for a while, right? But talking about publicly like, oh, I actually don't want my identity to be centered around being someone's wife and being someone's mother. I actually do have goals and dreams for myself, you know? So it's like, yeah, her and Chris were going to fall apart because he thought once he retired, it was going to continue to be that. When oh, babe, what podcast does she go on? The Blessing Report, I'll respond to that in a second. But like, apparently the conversation they had was that she was going to prioritize him while he was doing his career. And then it was supposed to be her turn once he retired. But he had already gotten too comfortable with her centering her entire world around him. And honestly, that's what he wanted. So it was never going to work after that. Right? Because she was not willing to actually do that. And that's why we should have hired a nanny and let him know right off the bat, oh no, I'm still going to see about myself too. We can have a nanny and a chef. We can afford it. But I'm still going to do my thing as well. So Aisha lost me before she ever went on the podcast. No shade, all tea. When you have made your platform on talking down on women and letting yourself be pedestaled by patriarchal, misogynistic men as the standard against all these hoochies and hoes and unclassy women, like I don't become something by somebody else not being something. And so I wasn't vibing with her from a decade ago. Like I disconnected from Aisha a decade ago. And I had to get reminded, like, wait, what did she do again? I know, Frankie Beverly, like, what did she do again? But like, that for me is not, I'm sorry. You can't platform me by making me stand on somebody else's back. I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with that. Because she could have been the beautiful, loving wife and mom without having to embrace that rhetoric. Because there are lots of beautiful, loving, educated, talented mothers that are also shaking ass on the weekends. Like, it does not have to be one or the other. And I'm never going to shit on someone else in order to uplift myself. That's weird to me. So I wasn't fucking with it from then, right? Fuck the Call Her Daddy podcast, right? And so for me, people care way too much about optics and being in the mix. Like she could have uplifted herself. So I don't think that Steph is mad at her wanting to have something for herself at all. That's not what I mean. When I'm saying like Aisha is saying out loud what we watched Monique do. What I mean is she's coming to the same realization. She said it happened when her daughter turned like a year old or whatever, of like, oh, like this has become, I'm now Steph Curry's wife instead of being Aisha Curry. And so she started trying to craft an image for herself, which again, I relate to. There was a period in my life where people knew me as Chris's wife. We would go places and they'd be like, oh, you're Chris's wife. And that shit was cute until it wasn't cute. Right? I know that Blessing Report, but she did that because she was tired of being Steph Curry's wife and not having an identity of her own. And that's what she said in the interview. She wanted something more for herself that was not centered around just being a wife and a mom. And so this is how the TV show came about. This is how the cooking came about. This is how all of that brand started to build. But while she was building that brand, instead of just building the brand and leaning into who she was as a woman, she also let herself lump in with this category and this rhetoric from misogynistic men that were like, oh, we want an Aisha Curry, not a whoever they were comparing her against, a Cardi B at the time, I think is who they were comparing her against. Like, she didn't have to do that. She made a choice to let herself do that. She could have just built her brand and then people wouldn't be having such a big reaction right now about what's happening. It's not about whether the show came from Steph. I think you're missing my point. It's not about whether or not Steph supports her or the show came from Steph. It's about the fact that she's getting the blowback she's getting right now. She's getting the blowback she's getting right now because she let herself fall into this narrative around, yep, I'm not like those girls. I'm this type of woman. And now she's saying, actually, me being this type of woman was in response to me not wanting to be the type of woman that y'all think that I am. And they're like, hold on, bitch. They're mad about it. You know what I mean? They're mad about it. They're mad about it because you're supposed to be the girl that we thought you centered your life around your man. We thought you centered your life around your kids. You were supposed to be the ideal woman in their mind, right? Exactly, Fanatic. It's giving T Swift. I'm not a bad bitch and I'm not a savage. That's what she built it on publicly. But privately, what was happening was, actually, I want to do these things because this is not all that matters to me. Okay, this is not all that matters to me. And now she's talking about publicly what was happening privately that they didn't realize. And now they're mad because how dare you? You're embarrassing him. How dare you? And here's the thing with people saying that she's embarrassing him. I think that's some bullshit. Steph supports his wife and has always said he supports his wife. Has always said that. If y'all think that they haven't had those conversations, that just proves to me that you're actually not in romantic relationships, which is why you have so much to say about somebody else's marriage. Do you think that they really haven't had that conversation? Of course they have. The woman says she's in therapy. She was in therapy about it. Of course they've had the conversation. He supported her doing this. Oh, okay. Babe, I also want you to chase your dreams. I also want you to do this. You know what I mean? I want you to have that if that's what you want to have. Yes, use the platform that I have to build these things for yourself as you fucking should as my wife. You know what I mean? Of course they talked about that shit. Y'all niggas think he's embarrassed because you would be embarrassed because you can't platform your wife. You done got one. But if you did, you can't platform her. How dare her world not center around you? Because y'all don't see women as autonomous beings. Y'all don't see women as whole people, right? I don't think that Will Smith is embarrassed by Jada either. Do I think Jada should have had her man's back after he slapped that man? I do. I do. I think that she should have had his back after he slapped that man. I don't think she should have said anything publicly acting like he was tripping. I don't know who Savannah is. Oh, you're talking about Savannah, what's that boy's name? LeBron's wife? Does she talk? Do we ever hear Savannah talk? Does Savannah have an identity outside of being LeBron's wife? And I'm asking sincerely because I don't know. No, and we should keep it that way. No, she not really. Yes, she does talk. What does she do? What does she do outside? I sincerely do not know. She has a podcast. What else does she do? Wait, clock it, babe. Period. And when did this podcast start? How old is that? Is that recent? Is it old? So Shayla, that's kind of like people are comparing her. I want us to be able to like see the bigger picture sometimes. I would not be shocked if people are comparing her. It's in the last year. If people are comparing Savannah and Jada and what's the girl's name? Aisha, comparing them because Savannah knows her place. She's being quiet. She's being quiet. She's being pretty and she's going to events and that's what she's supposed to do as a wife. And Jada and Aisha are doing something different than that because they have identities outside of their husbands. They have like now, Jada, I mean, she was somebody before her and Will were ever married, right? But Aisha has been building a brand outside of her husband. And for some men, that feels very audacious. That feels very like you're not in your place. You know what I mean? And so I can understand why they would be comparing the two of them because of how some men think that women should behave. Exactly. She's keeping it cute and keeping her man happy, focused on being a wife, focused on being, you know, a mother. And like, yeah, she does this little like podcast on the side, but it's probably not anything too controversial. She's probably not building like a brand for herself at this point. If you would just shut the fuck up, you'd be likable. I cannot tell y'all how many times Chris has had men say to him that he should check me because I have too many opinions. Some men like women most when they are not speaking. And so, of course, they're like, now we want a Savannah instead of an Aisha, right? Whereas before they wanted an Aisha versus a Cardi. We can compare Melissa, which is Kevon Sage's wife. She talks about and honors her husband. It's different. They think Aisha is ungrateful because she has the audacity to say that her marriage is not all fulfilling of her. And like, I think that more than one thing can be true. She put herself in a position to receive the lashings that she's receiving by what she chose to align with. And them motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about. Because if as a marriage and family therapist, if you think that your relationship should fulfill you completely, you've lost the plot. What happens when your partner dies? What happens if your partner becomes incapacitated and now you become the caretaker? Are you now unfulfilled? Like, if you think that your entire fulfillment in life should be within the context of your romantic relationship, you need to sit down in my chair and we need to have some conversations. I don't think that she's dishonoring him. I think that there is a way to, absolutely, I think there's a way to disagree without being disrespectful and to still honor the person that you're with, because Kevon Sage and his wife have talked about difficulties as well in their relationship, right? No, you are correct, Fanatic. There was similar discourse around Michelle and Obama. Michelle and Barack.
As of recently, a few months ago, there was rumors going around that they were getting divorced.
Yeah. Hi, Sakura. We're talking about Aisha Curry and kind of the fallout of like how that shows up with women who center their identities around being wives and mothers. We were talking about Monique Samuels and then it came to this. But like, I don't perceive her as dishonoring him simply because she's saying she realized that that wasn't what she wanted her entire life to be. That's not dishonoring him. It's also not dishonoring to be truthful about maybe the challenges that are happening in your relationship. There are some people that are going to choose, you know what, I don't feel like that's public information, and that's cool. But to think that these women, Jada, Aisha, exactly, D, to think that these women are speaking publicly about the challenges in their relationships and they've not talked about it with their partners, to me is a fundamental, I think you're just making a choice to believe that. Why would you think that? Why would you think that? Why would you assume that? Why would you assume that they're watching it for the first time with you and finding out? Why would you assume that? And so these men that have all this commentary, I don't think it's anything wrong with that. So the Blessing Report says, so what do you think about saying publicly you never wanted kids when your kids will hear that? I don't think there's something inherently wrong with saying I didn't want children. That doesn't mean that you don't love your children. Children can be unexpected and unplanned and still be very wanted and loved once you're pregnant. You could be like, damn, this was never the plan for my life, but I'm so excited about this baby. It's not like she said, I never wanted kids and I wish I didn't have them. That's not what she said, right? So I think I don't feel like people need to add in shit and meanings to things that she's not saying. Clock is Shayla, similar. I'm far more outspoken than my husband. I'm always on go. He gets activated when needed. You know? I think that men are odd for that, though, the Blessing Report, right? The things that she said about kids and about her husband was dishonoring. What did she say about Steph that was dishonoring? That he didn't understand what she was going through? That's all I saw. I didn't watch the whole interview. If there was something else that was said explicitly about him, please tell me. I think it also is great that she's able to talk about it publicly. To me, that is evidence of the conversations and the work that they've done in their relationship. Because remember, she said all this happened for her when her daughter turned 1. Her daughter is not 1 anymore.
No, she's a damn teenager. I think. Close.
So it's like, this is years of work that they've already done before she's having that conversation publicly. So for people to think that they don't, so the Blessing Report says, why is the male perspective of it just different? Here's the thing. I don't think it's the male perspective. I think it's the ones that are yapping, because my husband doesn't think that. Doesn't think it's something wrong with what she's saying. Doesn't think that that's her dishonoring him. Doesn't think. Chris says all the time, well, not all the time, but like, he didn't want kids either, and we got 4, and we love all of our children. You know what I mean? And are so proud to be parents. You know what I mean?
I also think, why do we think it's dishonoring for her to speak her truth about like what's happening for her as an individual in a marriage,
Right.
or what's happening within her marriage? And I think, like you said, if she's able to speak about this publicly, I'm sure, given who they are, I'm sure that her and Steph have had this conversation.
Yes.
But why is it dishonoring for her to speak her truth?
Yeah. And babe, to your point, that's calling it dishonoring is giving misogynistic, but what do I know? That's exactly what it is. Because their belief is that women exist to protect men, right? Especially if they're coming from a religious standpoint. I know I talk about it a lot, but we know that Steph and Aisha are Christians, right? And I was a practicing Christian for a very long time. And it is very common knowledge in the Christian church that the woman is supposed to like cover the husband in a lot of ways, right? And so there's this idea that she's supposed to cover him. And now she's not covering him because she's speaking truthfully about what has happened for her in the relationship. That's odd.
That's how predators get protected and go out and do the same thing over and over, especially in family dynamics.
The Blessing Report, I'm not saying that it doesn't go both ways. What I'm saying is that they have the understanding that women are supposed to cover their husbands. I didn't say that husbands don't cover wives. And so they're seeing her as not covering him. Yeah, but nobody is hearing Steph say anything bad about her, because what does he have to say? What does he have to say? Maybe he doesn't have anything bad to say, and so he's not saying it. People are assuming, oh, he must have something bad to say that he's holding back. Why? Why are they making that assumption? Maybe he doesn't feel that way, and so that's why he's not saying anything.
But why? But again, why do we think that what Aisha said was bad?
Right, and why do we think what Aisha said is bad? Right? Literally, all that she said was, I didn't want kids. I didn't, she is the helpmate, exactly, because that's what's in the Bible too. She is the help. All she said was that she didn't want, like, she never dreamt about having the big wedding and like having kids and all that, like being the wife. Like, that wasn't her goal in life. She wanted to be a career woman, and then those things happened so quickly and so soon, and she wasn't expecting that, and she didn't realize that she was going to feel how she felt. And so then she had to go to therapy about it, and she had to start developing her own identity. Like, she did exactly what you were supposed to do in that situation.
Because if you know their story, everything within their life happened quickly. Steph never thought he was going to the NBA. If you know their story, they were both in college. Steph sought out Aisha, with, like, you know, like, not, I wouldn't say stalker, but he went and tracked her down, right? Like, they were friends. He's the one that was like pursuing her and wanting to be in a relationship with her, wanting to be with her. And then the NBA thing just happened for him. So then of course that blew up. And at that time, okay, my nigga making all these millions of dollars, shit, I ain't gotta really do, you know, whatever the case may be. But then they had the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then shit, you know, yeah, it took off quick for her. Like, I think people are missing that point of how their life just happened.
Yeah. And that's literally all she's speaking to. So then, Blessing Report, what I would say, right, to this comment, so I think for both parties, men and women in marriage, public complaining is dishonoring. So that's the root of the questions then for you, right? Is that you are perceiving it as her complaining. And the question would be, why do you see her talking about her experience as a complaint? That would be the question, right? Why is her talking about her experience and saying, oh, I didn't realize that this was not going to be what was going to be all fulfilling, and that I was going to need something more. Why is that a complaint to you?
Right.
Did she say men don't hit on me and I wish that they would? And what does that have to do with Steph and the marriage?
But are we looking at why men don't hit on her?
But that's not even the what does that have to do with Steph in the marriage? Is that a complaint about her marriage or her husband? Hi, India. We're talking about Aisha Curry, and unfortunately, I'm defending her. Not unfortunately, but I think she's deserving of some of the lashing she's getting because of, again, she positioned herself to be in alignment with misogynistic men. But I'm curious why that is. Is that a complaint about the marriage? Well, I want you to tell me, how is that a complaint about the marriage? You said that she is complaining about the marriage publicly and that's dishonoring. So her saying, I don't get hit on and I would like to be hit on. How is that a complaint about the marriage? I just want us to like stay, because that's what we're talking about. How is that a complaint about the marriage and therefore dishonoring of Steph?
What man told you this? Because I want to know.
I don't follow her or like listen. Again, I told you I disconnected almost a decade ago. Right? So I don't follow her to know what this woman is saying. For me, when she said what she said, I was done. So because she's married, so I think that's a complaint that marriage provides covering and protection. So she's not being hit on. So because she's married, she's not being hit on. That's what you think it meant. Did she say that? I truly don't know. Is that what she said? Exactly, babe. I'm like, I don't have enough information about that to know whether or not that's a complaint about her marriage and Steph explicitly, and therefore dishonoring her marriage and Steph. Like it was it like, oh girl, I know the men be falling at your feet. Oh no, I don't get hit on like that because I'm married. So, and everybody knows I'm Steph Curry's wife. Like,
that's what it is.
Like, what was the context that it was said in? Okay, she did not express that she was dissatisfied or annoyed about not getting hit on. I don't know. Y'all, I don't watch her. Yeah, I know. It's like, find the clip. Roll the clip. So the context was Steph gets a lot of attention. Okay. And how she felt undesirable as his wife because he received that treatment and she doesn't. I know. I'm like, babe, can I see your phone? Where is it at, y'all? I'll play the clip.
It's right here.
No, I know, baby. Will you hand me that? Please. It's on YouTube. And what is it? And what am I looking for to find the clip, y'all? A Red Table Talk with Aisha and Jada. I might have to, then that means I might have to like, yeah, the clip is very old. I feel like this is familiar, but it's like also very, very old. I'm only thinking I might have to make a video because if it's a Red Table Talk, that means I'm going to have to like scroll through to like try to find the section and listen to it. And then the Red Table Talk from 6 years ago. Yes, Here's the thing. I can't speak to it completely because I haven't seen the clip, so I'm not going to act like I know all the context, and I'm not going to give you like an under-informed opinion. I will say that based on what y'all have shared, that it was in the context of, I guess, Steph Curry getting attention and her not getting attention, and so her feeling undesirable because she's not getting attention. I would say, okay, Risa, that's exactly what I was getting ready to talk to. I would say that that's less about her embarrassing Steph and more about her realizing her own self, how tapping into and aligning with misogynistic views is kicking her ass. Because why do you feel less desirable because men are not hitting on you? Because you determine your desirability by the attention from men while also shitting on women for dressing to get attention from men. Like, it's, I think that was that feels like a personification of the cognitive dissonance that was happening for her at that time. Right. But I'm going to have to watch the whole clip to get a full context of it. Okay. You just found it, Shayla? Okay, hold on. Let me see. I don't know what two clips you're talking about. That clip and what else? Blessing report. Her saying what she said in the interview. Again, we're fundamentally disagreeing about it being dishonorable to the marriage and to Steph. We are talking about Ayesha. We're fundamentally disagreeing about even that. Shayla, do you want to come up and share it? Do you want to just share the screen? I don't know if you can. Ayesha Curry wants attention. Claro que sí. Hold on, y'all. Ayesha Curry wants attention on YouTube. I got you. I'm going to find it. Hold on. I don't know why I never commit that to memory. Oh, God. You have too much going on this phone. On YouTube. Okay. Baby, take me to your YouTube. God, it's so much.
I just want to say that I know all y'all ain't old on here, but y'all are some old black people because y'all been getting off of this live for about 45 minutes. Y'all are all Christians or something. Y'all got Christian backgrounds. Y'all got something going on.
We've been about to go for 45 minutes. Blessing report. I don't typically see male takes on anything on my platform unless they are like radical leftist men. I don't typically engage with content from men. I have like some queer men, but a lot of my algorithm is not even pop culture stuff. Like, my algorithm is not really pop culture. It's mostly like politics. Oh, this is only a minute long. I think it's this one. Hold on.
Hold on, it's in my headphone. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, so it's chopped. I'm not going to have the whole, I don't love that part, but I actually don't. Here's the thing, Blessing Report. Blessing Report said, do you think hearing and seeing opposing views makes us better as people? I don't, actually. Not every view is actually an informed view. And sometimes I'm just listening to people that are not intelligent talk because the internet has given everyone a platform. And I don't think that I need to ingest everything in order to be a good human. There's not always two sides to consider. I'm very strict about certain things. I don't need to watch Fox News. I don't need to listen to right-wing stuff in order to be more informed as a person. I actually don't believe that. I don't think that I need to hear your side all the time in order for me to have an informed opinion. Because again, sometimes people are speaking from a place of either ignorance, like they really just don't have the information, or they are being willfully obtuse, or they're just not very intelligent. I'm not a person that inherently believes that men and women think differently. So I don't need to necessarily hear a man and a woman's perspective around things either. I don't believe that whole, oh, men and women are just so different. We're socialized differently, which may impact the way that we see things differently, but that we are not inherently different simply because we are men and women. I don't believe in that. So I have men that I listen to, but a lot of them they've done their own homework. They've done their own research. They understand how systems are at play. And so we agree about a lot of things because they're coming from systemic views around things. I need somebody that can do high level thinking in order for me to be cared about anything that they have to say. I'm not just listening to some man that has a mic tell me what he thinks about Ayesha Curry. No shade. But you're going to have to show me that you're studied in this and that you have enough information to be having this conversation. If you don't understand patriarchy, if you don't understand misogynoir, if you don't understand the way religion and all of these things prime us for certain things, then you don't have enough information to have the conversation with me. And I'm not even trying to be like a jerk about it, but like I say all the time that
and those things are basic line.
Well, not for everybody though.
Minimum.
But like I say all the time that like I took a philosophy class and one of the first things our philosophy teacher ever made us listen to or read was about basically what it said in a nutshell is, listen, we've been doing philosophy for years at this point. We're not going to dumb down so that you can understand. You need to get a dictionary and you need to make notes and you need to rise to the occasion as you are reading. And it literally told you how to read philosophy so that you can actually engage with the content rather than feeling like the content was too much and needed to be watered down. So I just come from the perspective of if you're having a third grade conversation and I'm in the 12th grade, we're not in the same realm. And so you should talk to third graders and I'll keep talking to the seniors. You know what I mean? And so I don't listen to everything that everybody has to say. The males are ending their lives at a higher rate than women. So mentally we're different, right? No, we're living under the same systems that we're socialized differently. You really want me to get into this, huh? We're socialized differently, but we're living under the same oppressive systems. The difference, the reason why they're ending their lives and they're lonely and all of these things at higher rates, right, is because they are socialized differently with how to deal with their emotions. Mm-hmm. And I say that as a woman who lost a brother to redaction. He ended his own life. I say that as a woman that has had that very directly impact me. But he was socialized to deal with his emotions in a different type of way than I am as a woman, right? And so my support looked different than his support, right? And so we're living under the same, but because we live under patriarchy and too many men feel like patriarchy benefits them rather than understanding how it harms them, they don't understand that patriarchy necessitates that and you can read Bell Hooks to hear more about this, right? Since y'all having me nerd out, but you can read people to learn more about this. But one of the first things that patriarchy requires from men is that they sever themselves from their emotional experience, that they sever themselves from their humanity, that they not feel things. And they're learning that from a very young age. So when mental health shows up, it's like, oh, we don't do that.
What's the book? We told you to read it before.
All About Love?
No, the other one. I'll get it. I'm sorry to cut you
okay.
off. I'll get it. Let me see that.
What about schooling? Young girls perform well in school, while boys can do well also with more play. I don't know what you mean by that. Are you saying that girls don't need to play outside? I'm being serious. I'm asking you what you mean by that. The will to change. Thank you, Risa.
Thank you. She remembered she was on the live before.
Thank you, Risa.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. I guess it sounds like it's a guy, right? Read that book, The Will to Change.
No, I don't know if it's a guy or not.
Okay,
it's just someone that's asking.
Read that book, and I promise you'll see you'll definitely see
because the reality is we're all raised under these ideologies, right? We're all raised under these belief systems, right? The fact that people, anyway, don't get me started.
And those systems of saying that, oh man, like you just said, the question about boys and girls playing and stuff, that's something that has been systemically like built into us as a difference, but it's all based in misogyny.
Right.
That women men need something different.
Mentally, boys are different than girls, and so they succeed better with more play. What research
not
study
true.
says that?
That's not true.
What research study says that? Because all children's brains benefit from play.
Right.
And depending on whether if they're neurodivergent or not, they're definitely going to benefit with play, and more movement. I'm not trying to be shady at all.
What man told you that?
This is feeling like outdated science. So I'm wondering where you're getting that from, right? When scientists initially were like alleging that women's brains were smaller, it's kind of feeling like eugenics. And like how we heard about like black people and other people, right? And this is why the SAT and all of that exists, to prove that we're dumber than everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious where that came from. And this is why I be telling y'all about research. And I think I've said this to y'all before. You have to be mindful of the research you ingest. Who asked the question? What was the motivation for the question? Because even the way that we frame questions as researchers is informed by our biases, right? If you believe a certain thing, right? So like I've told y'all this example before as a psychology girly and doing my research on black women and the strong black woman schema, a lot of the research questions get framed around like, well, why are black women not asking for the help they need, right? Or why are black women so independent, or like things like those would be the types of questions. And it's like, well, you already are like intimating and demonstrating that you have a bias toward believing that that's true, that it's that they don't ask for help, not that they don't receive it. Right? And so even the way that we frame our research questions is information for the person that is ingesting the research. And you should be curious about all of that as you're reading the research. Okay, do y'all want me to play this 1 minute clip of Aisha on Red Table Talk? This is very short, and that feels like not a fair, it doesn't feel like a fair picture of everything she said, but I'm happy to play it for y'all if you feel like it would be helpful. Okay, see Washington say yes.
To have more compassion and more understanding.
Something that really bothers me and like honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that, yeah, like there are all these women like throwing themselves, but me, like the past 10 years, like I don't have any of that. Like I have zero, it sounds weird, but like male attention. And so then like I begin to internalize it and I'm like, is something wrong with me?
You're not
looking.
What?
You're not
looking. You're not even. But I'm gonna tell you something else too. When your radar's turned off, because I dealt with that for years too. Like, and I was young, like you.
Yeah,
like oh my god. I mean,
because I don't want it, but
yeah.
it'd be nice to know that like someone's looking.
But
that
when your radar's
dangerous.
turned off, right?
That
You're
can get
beautiful.
real
Don't
dangerous.
ever think for 1 minute that it ain't some men out there looking at you like I wish.
Honestly.
And I'm gonna tell you who knows that more than anybody.
And on
I want to ask a question now. All of you made the decision not to try.
Okay, I'm curious how that felt like a complaint about Steph and her marriage. She didn't even mention her marriage as like why she's not getting it. She just said she's not getting it and talked about the insecurity that's fueling in her because and this goes back to me saying she has misogynistic views, right? She was saying that she does not, exactly, Jada brought him up. Your husband knows it, right? She was talking about it from the perspective of like, it makes me think less of myself because I'm not getting male attention, which is, again, her being rooted in misogyny, which is why I'm not going to protect her around the lashing she's getting because ultimately she aligned herself with patriarchy in that way. But that she was talking about a personal insecurity because in her mind, male attention means I'm beautiful. Not, I wish I wasn't married. My husband ain't shit because now I'm not getting attention from people. I don't understand how that was seen as a complaint about Steph or the marriage. This is what I mean, again, when I feel like people are and I'm not saying this about the Blessing Report explicitly, but like about men maybe that are having that conversation about like they infer meanings that are not there because of what they would feel about it. And so they project. So I don't know, y'all. Again, I'm not saying that Aisha that she should be free of the backlash. Okay, because again, she chose to align with patriarchy. So of course these men are like, what are you talking about? You're supposed to be the ideal version of a woman, blah, 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 blah. How dare you say that you're dissatisfied or that you wanted something more than just being a wife and just being a mother? That should have been enough for you. That's what y'all bitches exist for. Just sit there, be quiet and be cute, right? She chose to align with men that think like that. And so now this is what they're giving to her in response, right? And also, more than one thing can be true. She's not saying anything that a lot of women don't say. Listen, y'all know I'm an MFT. Y'all know that I'm a marriage and family therapist. So you can imagine things I hear. You can imagine things I hear. And I've told y'all before from me as well. I grew up in a Christian household. We were a Christian marriage at some point. You know what I mean? Like we got married. We were very active in the Christian church. And I also had to come to the reckoning of like, actually, this is like just being a mom is not enough. My husband was always very supportive of me doing the next thing. My husband was always supporting me doing the next thing in my life that I wanted for myself because he's not intimidated by that or feels like I'm talking shit about him because I'm like, actually, there are things I want for myself as well, outside of being a mother and being a wife. And secure men are not going to be threatened by that. Because his manhood, who he is as a man, is not defined completely by who I am as a woman, right? We've talked before about how masculinity and femininity are in conversation with each other, right? And that if you don't have a firm sense of your masculinity or a firm sense of your femininity, whatever feels right for you, then you're going to need certain things from your partner in order to feel like you're bolstered in your femininity or your masculinity. Christopher is a very secure masculine man. He doesn't need me to perform a certain type of way for him to feel more or less like a man. If y'all heard the stories, listen, I'm not going to out too much because I don't have permission from my child to out it. But like, Christopher's we do secure masculinity over here. We're not doing toxic shit over here. Okay. And evolution and growth as humans should be a part of the process. It is okay to look at your life and say, wow, I want some things to be different. I want to maybe adjust some things. I want some things to change. And to work as a team to achieve that. The problem becomes when one partner is so stuck in something that they can't grow, then you might see the relationship break apart. But we have not seen that as evidence for Jada and Will or Aisha and Steph. So I don't know why people are projecting. And by people, I mean men. Why are you projecting? Because you're not secure in your masculinity and you're not secure in or they don't even have them, relationships, unless it looks one very particular type of way. They are saying we are young enough, we love each other enough to be malleable, to adapt, to evolve, to grow. Oh, I got more information in. Now I want to do something different now that I have more information. What might have been okay when I wasn't a parent is different when I am a parent. Oh, now I have 2 kids instead of just 1. Oh, something else has changed. Oh, now my kids went to college. Something else has changed. You should be, the data is always changing. The data is always changing. And so them being willing to allow the data to change them or to evolve them is not a negative. And her talking about that is not a complaint. She's just talking about her experience that a lot of people have. I've also had the experience of knowing people when their children go off to college or they leave the home and they become empty nesters. And because the wife's identity has been completely centered around being a mom and being a wife and nothing else. Well, now a fundamental part of her identity is gone. And now they're realizing, oh, it's not that much between us anymore either. I don't know what to do in this relationship anymore. Because they have not had a balance their entire relationship. So I don't think it's anything wrong with Aisha talking about her learning experience, right? And I do understand the lashing she's getting, but I don't think that that is inherently negative that she's talking about her learning experience. I do not perceive that as her complaining about Steph. She's not saying my marriage ain't shit, that nigga ain't shit, I can't stand him. It still would not be wrong. It would, if Steph said it exactly how Aisha said it, I wouldn't think it was a problem. I just told y'all that Chris, my husband, says he didn't want kids and we ended up with 4. That's not, he's not a not great father because he didn't want children initially. Lots of us have things that we think or believe at 18, 19, 20 years old that are different when we get older. That's not negative to me. And Chris will tell you, I get hit on a lot more than Chris gets hit on because he's a man, right? So lots of girls are not hitting on him. He's not a celebrity where women would throw themselves, right? I get hit on a lot more than he gets hit on. That doesn't bother me that he names that. That doesn't make me feel like, oh, he must not want to be married to me. Like he hates it here. I don't think that at all. I don't think that at all. So again, but if he went on the internet, they might be like, oh my God, he's embarrassing her. But that has to do with your own insecurity about your relationship. That ain't got nothing to do with what's going on over here. Because y'all also get to see bits and pieces, but about how that man is about me. So him saying those things doesn't make him less of a great father or less of a good husband to me. Like that doesn't impact anything that's happening between us. Y'all's perspective outside of us has nothing to do with what's happening at my house. So no, I would not inherently think, oh my God, Steph is complaining about Aisha. He's a terrible man. I would not think that if he said the same things Aisha said. Honor culture. I know that I don't know very much about it to really have a lot of thoughts about it. The only thing I know about it is when it comes to honor schmurders. So I would have a very underinformed opinion about it. And I'll say this too, like even when women in the live are like, oh my God, no, like not trying to be messy, but like your man is fine. Like that doesn't bother me. That doesn't. I just feel really secure in who I am in my marriage. So that doesn't bother me to see him get attention or talk about not getting, none of that bothers me. It doesn't move me because I know what's happening in my house, right? So I don't think that Steph is moved. And I think that people are projecting. Okay, y'all, I've been getting off for like an hour at this point. So I'm actually going to get off, okay? Thank you, The Blessing Report, for asking the questions and letting us get into more of the nitty-gritty of things. I do like to nerd out about stuff, so I don't mind it at all. Well, The Blessing Report, that's another great question. A very interesting take. So what do you call dishonoring for your marriage? I think everybody has their own understanding of what is appropriate or inappropriate in their marriage. There is no one size fits all. There's no one size fits all. And the only thing that would be dishonoring is something that the two of you have talked about that you're like, that would feel like disrespect. The problem is motherfuckers don't talk in their own relationships, so they assume nobody else is talking in theirs. What are the agreements that you all have talked about? What are the things that you have said, that's a line for me, that's a boundary for me, that feels like this for me? What are the conversations you've had? But there is no one size fits all. There's no unequivocal, exactly. If boundaries you have established are broken, that is dishonorable in the relationship. You have not honored your spouse.
Stop listening to the niggas online. telling you
So like you
about
could say cheating maybe, right? Like cheating would be dishonorable because this is under, if it's cheating, then that means you broke a boundary, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be seen as cheating. Right? Hi, we're just finishing up about Aisha and like marriages and what is and is not dishonoring or honoring in a marriage, right? But if it's cheating, then that means you all had a boundary around monogamy and an expectation around monogamy that you chose to violate. So that would be dishonoring. Example with the comments, some women would say, don't compliment, he's married. That doesn't bother me. He is fine. I know that. And he's still my husband.
Well, I'm about to really talking about me.
He is fine. That don't bother me. Because that's not changing anything that's happening over here. That's not changing nothing that's happening over here. I'm not, listen, and this is what I would say. Maybe women that feel like that, or women that have dealt with men that engage in a lot of like maybe infidelity, or they step out, or they do like very questionable behaviors. I would understand you being like, don't say that about my man because he can't handle temptation. I don't feel like that about my man. I don't feel like that. I'm not worried about that. And because Chris knows I have a hard boundary around some things. So I don't give a fuck how much I love you, nigga. I will leave. What the fuck? I don't care. I will peace the fuck out. I will peace out. Right? So because I feel secure and I know what my boundary is, I know he knows what my boundary is, I'm not bothered by that. Exactly. That's a great example. Nick and Alandria, when it comes to behaviors from fans, that is a great example. Alandria ain't on the internet crying and snotting and throwing a hissy fit because I'm sure they've talked about what is appropriate and not inappropriate, or appropriate and inappropriate in their relationship dynamic. If those women say no, would that be considered dishonoring complimenting for marriage? So if they said, I don't want other women to compliment you, would that be dishonoring? Is that what you're asking me?
How is that
I'm just asking if that's what you're asking me. Like if they say, I don't want other women to compliment you, that's dishonorable. And then other women complimented them, would that be dishonoring? Because, it really doesn't matter what your answer is. I'm going to be honest, because ultimately you can't control other people. So that's not even a boundary. That's not a boundary, right?
That's crazy.
You can't control what people outside of your relationship are doing. And boundaries are not about controlling other people's behavior either, right?
I need to try to stop and drop some stuff off so let's go.
Okay, baby. I love you. Have a good practice. What you about to drop?
Some stuff off at return.
Oh, okay. So like you can't control people outside of your relationship. So that's like a really kind of like an unfair thing to say, like, well, if someone compliments you, then like you've dishonored me, because they can't control what other people do, right? You can say, I don't want you engaging in relationships outside of us, right? And you still can't make them not do it. But the boundary is about, if you do that, then I feel dishonored. And so then my reaction is I'm going to maybe leave the relationship, whatever your reaction might be, whatever the consequence might be. Yes, exactly. A boundary is within your own self. You cannot control anybody else. So you might feel dishonored or disrespected or whatever your word of choice might be. But the consequence is whatever you then choose to do as a response to that. But the feeling might be, I feel dishonored, if that makes sense, right? But you can't control what other people do. So that would be an unfair and unrealistic and unattainable thing to ask from a partner. You can't control if they're walking down the street and somebody's like, oh my God, you look handsome today. Like, you can't control that. You can't control that, but you can set an expectation. I expect you not to engage in romantic relationships outside of ours. And so if you were to do that, then this would be my response, right? Because I would feel dishonored if you did that. That's what you can do. Clock it. It has been, the word boundary has been mixed in with controlling your partner sometimes, a lot of times. A lot of times. People think that they're setting boundaries when really they're just trying to control their partner. I should do a whole video about that. Because, and I think I might have at some point, but people misunderstand what boundaries are all the time. All the time. Oh yeah, I agree. I agree, the blessing report. I agree 100%. No. I was talking about Hun's message. Yeah, so I agree. I think it is not universal. There are some things that you could say, okay, clearly y'all have this boundary. You know what I mean? Woo, clock it. It definitely is there. Boundary is a word that came out of the therapy space and is now used to manipulate and to control in a lot of situations. Exactly, Erica. Your boundaries are for you, not for me. They give me information, but they don't dictate my behavior, right? I might be the person that you're like, hey, don't call. I don't like to be called after 10 o'clock. And I might be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to keep calling you, right? My husband has no, because again, blessing report, I'm going to say, like, for example, you could say like, oh, you don't cheat in marriage, but not every marriage is monogamous. Oh, honeydew melon. Okay. Thank you. Right. Not every marriage is monogamous. So like, I don't know that there's anything I can think of off the top of my head, at least, that's like, oh, that's a baseline for marriage. Baseline for behaviors in general, it's just like as a human, of course, like you just don't do certain things. I know, babe, I know. Like you just don't do certain things as a human, but like you don't do that whether you're married or not. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be walking around, essaying people or abusing people. Like there's just certain things you just don't do because you're just a human, right? But that has nothing to do with necessarily being married or not. That's just like human behavior. But there's nothing I can think of like explicit to a marriage off the top of my head that I'm like, you should not do that in any marriage, or that should be a boundary for every marriage. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, it has definitely been used as like a manipulation tactic in a lot of situations and scenarios. Okay, I love y'all. It's Friday. I think I'm gonna go play Sims, y'all. I'm gonna go play Sims and then I'm gonna watch some more Salt Lake City maybe later. You're welcome, Blessing Report. I always appreciate you asking questions that make me like use my brain. It doesn't bother me at all. I hope that you know that. Okay, I love y'all so much. Have a happy Friday. I hope that y'all have a wonderful Friday, a beautiful weekend. I will see y'all again on Sunday for the CB conversation. And yeah, have a good one. Oh, I don't know who that is, Muzzy. Will you inbox me about it? Inbox me about who they are, and then I will do my research and I will chat about it. Oh, I'm probably not that far. I'm on season 1, episode like 5. I just started watching it. So I started all the way from the beginning. I know I got a long way to go. Okay, bye y'all. Have a good weekend. I'm looking forward to it.